What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode here with us. This is going to actually be a Log Talk podcast. We haven't done one of these in about a month, so we had opportunity to record a podcast on Thanksgiving Eve up at camp, something we've been talking about and wanting to do, to kind of do a at camp podcast with everybody. And so the opportunity presented itself on the eve of Thanksgiving, and we sure had a good time. So if you had listened to the last episode of Breeding Radio and Uncle Tim's story about his buck, that was recorded after this podcast. So it was late at night, and as you can imagine, the drinks were flowing and the good times are being had. So I guess I'll just kind of just lay that out there, that there's a little bit of maybe some foul language. There's some crazy stories about stuff that's happened in the past on Thanksgiving and up at camp, but no one was harmed in making of these stories, and there was a lot of good memories shared, and I think that you all out there will be able to listen to this and relate to some of the fun shenanigans and the things that my family talks about here on this show. So just a forewarning there, but it's all good. There's really nothing terrible, but some good fun stories there. So I hope you enjoyed that. We will have that podcast here, and then I have another one coming out that I'm working on this morning that I want to kind of rush out a little bit, that will be posting probably early next week. So probably around maybe Monday, what would that be, the 10th? Monday the 10th. Probably be posting another one, and that will be, Monday the 9th. That will be our, Dallas and I sat down and did a little chat about our upcoming Pennsylvania rifle hunt that we're going on next weekend. We're going on the 12th through the 14th will be when we're hunting. So I'm going to work on getting that put together and kind of pushed out quickly after this one. But yeah, just wanted to get this episode out and introduce it to everyone. We have a great time on this show, and I think you all will enjoy hearing these stories. Few housekeeping as I've been getting into the routine of. We really appreciate everyone's following along. It seems like over the last few weeks, we've really picked up some steam and gotten a bunch of new followers and been interacting with everyone a lot on Instagram and Facebook. So really appreciate that. We're having a great time. This has been a great hunting season. There's been a lot of success, not only with ourselves personally, but with people all around New York State. So it's been a great season, and we want to continue sharing those stories. And even though we're getting out of hunting season, there's I want to dig a little deeper into some of the stories and some of the history with some of the people that we've had the opportunity to connect with. So I look forward to that, and please continue to reach out if you'd like and connect with us, as we would love to kind of bring your story out and bring all the good things that we have going on around New York, bring those to light and share those stories. It's really fun to relate with people right in your backyard. So please do that. And lastly, make sure that you're using the link that is in our bios on both Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be a Linktree link, and once you click on that, it will take you to our little Linktree page that has the companies that we're working with. I think one of the biggies, there's two that we're really getting a lot of traction with, and that is Cabela's and Mountain Ops. Both of those companies have, everybody knows Cabela's. Mountain Ops is a supplement company that a few of us here have been using for a few years and really, really kind of lean on it heavily, especially when we're doing backpacking hunts and stuff like that, or even just all-day sits. We use some of their trail packs and things like that for their pre-workouts, and they have a product called Ignite that really love to drink one of those in the morning, and it gets you focused and locked in for the day. So definitely check those links out in our bio. The way it works, we don't have a promo code or anything. They're all running specials right now with the holidays. So you just click on our link and do your shopping, and we get a little credit for that sale, and it helps us keep this podcast up and running. So please check that out. And I guess last but most importantly, go Bills. We got a big weekend here. I can't believe in my adult life we've never had a December game that really means this much, and pretty fired up about it. So go Bills. Hope they win tomorrow. The stadium should be rocking. And one of our followers that we've connected with is pretty awesome. It's Trent Murphy, one of the defensive ends for the Buffalo Bills. Trent's a big outdoorsman. It's been really fun messaging back and forth with him. So shout out to Trent. Thanks for following, and good luck on Sunday. Make sure you get after that quarterback and put him on the ground. So good luck. We'll be cheering for you, and everybody who's out there hunting this weekend and through the last week and a half of season, shoot straight and keep your muzzle loader barrel out of the snow. Feed them.
Just like that.
Just like that. The podcast has started.
We've begun.
Pretty near.
Are you done sharpening every knife in the cabin?
Yeah, you're not on, right?
How did those serrated knives sharpen pretty
I don't know
well?
how the frick you sharpen a serrated knife.
With a chainsaw sharpener.
That would take a long time.
It would.
Yeah.
Each individual groove you gotta put that oil on there and just give
File
her.
it and hone
Grinder.
it.
Just
Hone that
grinder.
thing
Get
down.
right in there and just grind her.
Grinder guts.
I would just buy a new serrated knife.
Yeah, you
instead
just
of
go to Walmart and buy a new
Yeah.
Take a bench grinder, get all the serrated edge off, and just put an edge
one.
on it.
Yeah, just do a straight.
Right, put an edge on it.
Yeah.
A real edge.
So this is a Thanksgiving inaugural Thanksgiving Log Talk podcast. So I'm joined here by my family. I'm gonna go around the table, and we're missing a few faces, but the faces that matter are here.
That's
You
right.
know, and I mean the folks that listen to this that know who's not here,
We're here.
we're heard. So I guess we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave it there.
But are we?
So I'm not. I'm
Not really.
okay.
I mean, if they're lost.
I'm full of bear balls and meatballs.
That's a whole
I'm
other
not,
clarify
story.
that.
I'm not sure what that
Yeah.
means.
Because
So you're curious.
some folks close to me know that I've had some run-ins with buck balls. I tried making buck balls last year because I've talked a big game about trying it. Mountain Dew. I've talked a big game about making buck balls because Uncle Steve made them one time. Uncle Steve Ranella. And I made them, and they exploded. It was disgusting.
Come on.
Okay, sorry. Did I ruin your appetite? I'm sorry. Okay.
No.
All right, so let's go around the table. We're going to introduce everybody, and then we're going to hear some Thanksgiving tradition stories from the gang is kind of the plan here tonight. So to my left, listeners' right, we have my Uncle Chris Harvey.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Uncle Chris, this is a returning... He's been on a couple times. You've heard him on Breeding Radio as well as an episode with him and Brian. We've got my cousin Joe Harvey. That's Uncle Chris's youngest son, but maybe the more manly of the two.
How's it going?
Good. It's great to have you.
Good to be here.
Schultzy. Next to Joe, we've got Adam Fisher. So Adam's on. He's one of the gang here at camp. So welcome aboard, Adam.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Didn't really have a choice, but you're sitting here, so it'd be
I could have went
awkward.
to the other room.
If I just went around past you, like it'd be
That
awkward.
would be weird.
You already excluded me with some of the stories, so
I know, but you're working to build your own stories.
I am.
Yeah, you can't fake being part of this stuff. It
No.
just happens.
You're right.
So last but not least is Uncle Tim,
Yep.
the Hercules killer himself. So we have yet to get that story, but I'm going
Yeah.
to need to get that out because that's going to be on Breeding Radio for sure.
That's a pretty cool story.
That's a
big
pretty
story.
cool story.
Yeah.
And I haven't
Yep.
heard the whole story yet, so I don't want to hear it
Okay,
Alright.
won't talk about it.
until we'll get a minute one of these days. So this is the gang around the table, and this is your host, Slick Willie. So we're sitting here. It's getting to be 10 o'clock on the night before Thanksgiving. So I've been up here drinking Busch Light since 5 o'clock, waiting for these guys to show up. And so this is a big tradition of ours as a family, is the Thanksgiving night. You know, whoever's here, you know, every year there's somebody at camp, whatever's going on, whether it's family ties pulling you away or whatever the issue is.
I've made ex-girlfriends cry over this.
Is that right? And there's a reason why they're ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, right.
There's a priority.
I mean, it's not funny. Well, it is funny now, but it's like this is tradition. It's cool. It's like there's no harm done. We're not doing anything wrong. We're not
Allegedly.
killing. Allegedly.
Not anymore.
No, it's a lot better than it used to be. But there's really, it is a cool tradition. It's one of the few times a year we all try to get together, the close people, and family and stuff, and get together and hunt, stay up late, laugh, joke,
Yeah.
do whatever, and get up and try to hunt hard in the morning, no matter.
Now,
how
by
we feel.
whatever you mean drink
Yeah, I do.
Heavily.
Drink.
A few drinks.
moisture. Drink some
It
alcohol.
sounds weird when you say moisture.
Because, well, Adam's not drinking, neither's Joe.
Right,
They're
yeah.
not of age. So, you know.
I am of
there's
age.
Adam,
I am well beyond age.
just because
You
you
just
have
choose
facial
that.
hair in children does not mean you're of age. There's science allows some things to happen. You know, you've got a lot of testosterone. You got stuff going on.
So there's a history with this, though. With Tim and I, it's special because we were coming up here as, probably when we were in middle school,
Yeah.
when our dad and his two friends hunted here, and our dad's friend owned this cabin. So there's a lot of history here, and we don't come here that often. It's probably once a year. Tim and I are here at the same time, and it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because we normally hunt the farmland, and I usually come up here hunt a little bit more once gun gets going. But tons of memories back from when we were kids on through teenage years, the 80s to the 90s to adults, and then bringing our own children up. So it is definitely special, and everybody else feels it now. I mean, you guys have been coming for years.
Yeah, it's like you can't miss this night. It's the one night, well, opening night and
Yes.
and Thanksgiving night are like the two big nights for us. I'm sure there's a lot of camps that are the same as that.
Right.
It's the night for everybody to kind of come together at your hunting camp or whatever your place of gathering is the night before those big evenings of our hunting season. So like you're touching on it. So like I'd kind of like to hit on some of the classic stories of the days when you guys were younger and coming up here, and when you were, well, you're much younger than even Adam and I are now. I guess even like basically Joe's age or a little bit older than Joe.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, we were
coming
like
up
you
here.
said, late middle school and
Senior.
high school. Before
Yeah.
we just come up here to hang out and watch
other people hunt.
Dukes of Hazzard and
Yeah.
had the love, or what was it?
They had the old black and white TV with the antenna, if you're
the
lucky
show
to catch
there
it.
Up
with,
here?
Yeah,
with,
really.
Hervé Veliches, the midget.
Oh,
bringing it
Fantasy
out.
Island.
Fantasy Island would be on.
The midget with the
Wait,
It's like a big.
wait,
It's not
back-
legit. It's not legit unless you have a
Wait a
midget.
minute, though.
on it,
Back
but
up. How did you know the name of the actor?
That's right. I know.
What'd you say his name?
Hervé Veliches. Remember the
Hervé, yeah.
It is kind of funny, but I don't remember the name of the show. But I remember
Yeah,
the name.
Fantasy Island. He was the one who said, "Boss, the plane's
He would go
coming."
to
And, yeah,
It was like a Saturday Night lineup. It was like a
TV
Saturday night,
shows.
like Fantasy Island or Dallas, but
Yeah.
Friday night was Dukes of Hazzard. We'd watch up here, and
sure.
but
Usually that.
you know,
I didn't know.
all right,
This
is going back.
Yeah,
This
that
is
is
going
going back.
back.
Holy shit.
This is early '80s.
yeah. But okay, we started doing that. Come up here and just watch TV and hang out and stuff, and we'd walk down at night to the pond down the road here and trap muskrats
Is that right?
in the middle of the night. Like we'd walk down when it got dark, and me and Chris and brother Mike and Columbus there, Mike Madigan and stuff. We'd set
Yeah.
110s out on the bank, and when cars would come, we'd hide down off the edge of the road, and we'd come back up, watch TV for half an hour, and then go back down and check the traps. And it's like we were bored, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we used to take a flashlight out in the woods too and look for raccoons in the trees.
Yeah.
We'd just walk around with a .22 rifle and flashlight
Shoot.
and hoping to find a
dark
raccoon.
spots in the trees. Well, we did that. It's
Good.
I know. As kids, it's like you do some of this stuff and you don't even
even
think about what's right or wrong.
like we would make a couple trips, walking up and down the hill, down to the pond down here, which is, I look back now, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And we'd jump up and down on the bank to see if there's a muskrat in, try to scoot it out. And we caught a few. But the guy who owned the pond across the road up there, he had a spotlight, shine it down, and we'd run down the road and stuff. There's nowhere to
That's
hide.
hilarious.
And Dad and Bob and Jim would be down, grabbing a beer at Middletown or whatever, and we're just on our own doing stuff. And,
Yeah.
But it's funny looking back. It just kind of came
Well,
rushing back.
so there's two things that have come to my mind just with this first little story here. So Columbus, can we explain? So Mike was one of the sons of Bob.
Yes.
And why was his nickname Columbus? Because I think
He
this
did-
is one of the funniest things ever.
He didn't drink beer for years, and I think it was well into college life. He started drinking beer, and I forget what night. It might have been in the Rush, the old landmarks, now the Creekside Inn. And I can't remember. I don't even know if I was there. Maybe I wasn't there, but brother Mike or Bill, said that he goes, I feel like Christopher Columbus. I just discovered beer. And so from then on, he was Columbus. That was his name.
I thought the reason why I thought he was called Columbus was because he would just randomly show up like in the middle of the night.
Well,
he does that. He does that too.
That was
You
part
guys
of the
would be up here.
Thanksgiving. That was part of the Thanksgiving tales.
Really?
Coming in, I got a story where like me and your dad riding together, getting lost between here. We thought it was a good idea because 1 o'clock was last call in Ontario County. Let's go back to Livingston, Monroe County, and try to get a beer, and then come back up. So we have one more beer because they closed at 2, and then drive back up. And we took some top secret shortcut with your dad, and I don't know. We drove. We're up on top of the hill. By, past Monkey Run or, all that. I can't think of the names of Dutch Hollow and Laird Road and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know where we were. I remember I fell asleep and I woke up and we're in like the middle of an open field and he's turning around and like, we're down to like an eighth of a tank of gas. So we finally come
There was
down.
no Google Maps back then? Or?
No, there was like paper
Ask
maps.
Siri where you were? Or?
No, there wasn't jack, man.
No.
There was nothing. But I remember coming down. I mean, so grateful. Like, I'm just tired. I've been drinking too long. Now I don't know. It might have been like 3 in the morning or 4, and we haven't been drinking. We've just been driving, trying to get back here. And we come in the driveway to the camp. We're down the bottom, and we're like, oh, cool. We go up the hill. I just want to crash out. And there's some random person walking up the hill.
Walking up the logging road.
We pull up next time. And whoa, boy! That's what Columbus used to do.
That's
all the
what he
time.
would do.
It was Columbus. He showed up randomly from I think it was in Buffalo.
Yeah,
I don't know
lives
where
out
he
in
was at
Buffalo,
the time.
Yeah.
And he was walking up the hill, and I'm like, where the hell did you come from? And
That was my memory of him and his name was Dad would always just tell me, you would just show up whenever.
showed up at Deer
he would
Meadows.
never call.
We'd be bear hunting.
He showed up on a bear hunt. We hadn't seen him
after
in
2
years.
days of hunting. After 2 days of hunting,
The
he
last
showed
night
up
he
the
showed up
second night. He showed
At
up
2 in the morning.
So random, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a massive power outage in a storm in the Adirondacks, and we were at the Red Dog Tavern in Inlet. The power went out. We were sitting there drinking and singing. We get back to Deer Meadows. We get back to the lodge. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And here comes Columbus. He just pops in the door and he's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" He hadn't seen him in years. He hadn't been on the hunt in years. And nobody told him about it. I don't know.
How did he even know we're here? And he just showed up on the second night.
Like
it's
six
just
pack.
funny.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's classic.
So number 2 question coming from your original story is that I believe that especially Bob, but Grandpa, like those guys would just disappear for a while. Like they would just go out and they'd be out on the town partying.
Yeah.
And you guys would you kids would be up here at camp just alone.
Right.
Like
Sometimes for a couple of days.
Yeah. Well, the classic story was we got to run in town to get cigarettes, even though I don't know if any of them smoked. We got to run town to get cigarettes. We'll be back, and it would be like in the afternoon. We wouldn't see them till whenever. And then one of the funniest stories, remember, I think Dad told me, it was like we were going to go down in town to Middletown. It was like daytime. We were all maybe went out for the afternoon hunt. And we had, I know what it was. They came back from being downtown, so he probably had a couple of beers. And the Jeep wouldn't start to come up the hill, the old Willie's Jeep, the 41 or whatever the hell it was.
half plywood Jeep. That we got.
So this is what they do. And Dan told me the story because it's true. He said, "We're like, all right, we got to get the Jeep closer to jumpstart it." So they're pushing the Jeep over to the vehicle. Instead of driving the vehicle to the Jeep, they put the Jeep in neutral and they're pushing it over. And they go, "Wait a minute, why are we pushing the Jeep to the truck?" It's just funny stuff like that.
And so our cabin is about probably the road has a couple switchbacks in it, so it's probably quarter mile. I don't know.
Yeah.
As a crow flies, it's not that far from the road, but the road switchbacks.
Yeah.
So, but it's a logging road.
Yeah, you need a 4-wheel drive.
You get any rain or you get snow, like you need.
Snow is bad.
So
Snow turns
before
to ice.
four wheelers, and there's a pile of stories of you guys. Just wild shit that happened when you guys are driving your trucks up here.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into that one, but
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when we got here tonight, we were shooting the shit, and like you guys were talking about how you used to have to lug everything up here. Like there was no there was no Jeep running up the hill.
If the Jeep was broke down, you literally carried.
Then
everything.
you were carrying all your gear. You were carrying a
Did
generator,
you carry
fuel
your dad,
for the generator.
I remember your dad would sometimes he'd carry the generator on his back.
Yeah.
and come up, and most of the time it'd take two people side by side, but it was, you go up a ways and set it down for a while and rest.
It was always
go up
a hike.
'cause most of us, we had a time where we were 14, 13. Your dad was probably 16, 17, whatever. But we'd come up, most of the time it was 2 trips, get all the stuff up here, go back down for food. It was just, and now I'm like, man, we got it good now.
Yeah.
Riding up the hill and Chris is side by side and going, life is good.
Yeah,
It's,
drinking a beer and
Yeah.
all your beers in the back. You don't have to make multiple trips. It's
Yeah, I'm thinking, wow.
I mean, I've got the old Silverado up here, and those tires are about as bald as a baby's ass, and I'm not looking forward to the drive down the hill tomorrow. But I made it up here dry today, so
I was shocked that you had it up here today.
I don't give a
because
shit.
of the-
It's got 210,000 miles on it, and if I hit a tree, I just hope I hit it hard.
Yeah.
Well, we came up one year on them. Had to be probably 10 or 15, maybe 15, 18 years ago. But Tim and I came up here in that old truck, that Ford you had. It was an old F-250.
It was a,
Yeah,
I
a
think it was
big
an
old
86,
F-250. I remember that.
86.
86 F-250 with a diesel. Yeah, it was the Lariat extended cab. It was
Yeah.
nice.
It's a beautiful truck.
And we
Yeah.
came up here in a snowstorm. Me and Tim had stopped at a couple bars on the way up, so we were always the last
For
ones
water,
here.
chicken
Yeah,
wings.
water.
I'd
chicken
use the
wings.
restroom.
Yeah.
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 They had a nice.
That's
But
directions.
we got to
they
the
had a
bottom.
bidet there. It was-
Yeah. We got to the bottom of the hill, and everybody's vehicles were there. And Tim had nice tires on that. He's like, "We can make it up the hill," and he just gunned it. Well, we flew up the hill, which was fine, but the next morning it got super cold. Everything here was a sheet of ice,
yeah.
and going down the hill the next day was a sheet of ice.
I feel like that was right when you came home from the Marines.
Yeah, probably a couple years after. It had to be around 2001 or 2, right around when Joe was born.
Because so as a kid, before I was old enough to come up here and hunt on Thanksgiving, it was always, so the guys would always come up to camp the night before, you guys would hunt, and then you would go right straight to Grandma and Grandpa's,
right to
where everybody was for Thanksgiving dinner. So
Right,
you guys all pulled in with your trucks, and it was like, oh my God, all of us kids are running outside, like, what's in the back? What'd you get? What'd you get? Like,
Right.
it was just the excitement of that.
Yeah.
And I remember that year when you guys came back, and your truck didn't. You rode back with somebody. You
I
left the
couldn't
truck
get it.
on
It
the
was
hill.
stuck on the tree on
So-
the side hill.
So
Yeah.
tell that story. You're coming down. So we have a real.
Well-
it's a steep road, and then there's a switchback
The last
that
bend.
is
Yeah.
real steep.
There's a
at
one minor switchback in the beginning. Then it gradually goes down. Just a little steeper downhill, and then it levels off, and then that last switchback before you get to the bottom it's sharp and hard right going
Yeah.
down. And the truck, I think it had a full 8-foot bed on it. And the
That was a
extended
long
cab was a
truck.
long truck. And I started going down the corner and going down this long stretch here. I hadn't 4-wheel low range, but I could feel like the tires are going 1 mile an hour, but we're going 5 miles an hour. Like they're turning, but we're sliding faster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn! Like, we're driving on, and meanwhile, Chris is drinking a beer.
And a beer and a cigarette.
Yeah.
And a cigarette.
And I think I had my dog.
I think you had Harley
with me.
You had the,
He was-
the dog in the back seat.
It just occurred to me. I think I had.
Did
my
Harley have a
with
beer
me.
and a cigarette?
He might have. Chris was sharing.
Yeah.
It was
So
very traumatic for me.
we come
I
down,
did
I'm
not spill
creeping
my
down the
coffee.
edge. You're looking over the hood and you can't see the curve yet. And I'm like, I gotta creep. And I start going down around the corner, and I just feel like we were like on a bobsled. We just started going around the corner, and I started going off to the side. It wasn't hooking all the way and staying on the logging road. And I said, I'm not getting traction. So I said, well, I had the decision to make. I said, you can't hit your brakes. You're going to skid right toward the tree. I hit the accelerator. I was hoping to bite and pull away from it, and I did not. I just accelerated. Went right into
The tires then started digging.
But,
Yes.
yeah. It's like, God damn it. And we hit that tree, and it wasn't a huge tree. It was probably a 4-inch, 6-inch tree.
Big enough.
But
Big enough to
honestly,
hold the
if
truck.
there wasn't a tree there,
We've
there
gone
was
off
a
in the
drop
woods.
off
Oh,
to
yeah.
that side. So,
It's 80 feet.
yeah, I
down
mean,
to the-
it's
down to the
honestly,
swamp
I'd
from
rather
there.
hit that tree than go over the edge.
Yeah.
But, you're going to do one or the other. And we hit that tree, and we just, we hit it and stopped and crumpled it. And I was like, God damn, I couldn't get out of the driver's door. The quarter panel was buckled back. And so we got out. And I tried to put it in reverse, and I couldn't. I'm just spinning in its place. I'm like, mother.
Well, you
So-
couldn't even stand on the hill. I got out my side.
That's right.
It was so icy. It was that bad. You couldn't even stand
I
on the road.
spun so
You
bad the
slide.
night before coming up. I just turned whatever was on ice. I turned into ice coming up.
Yeah.
Being like,
So hindsight, you probably should have just left the truck up here and
Yeah.
rode down with.
or I shouldn't
should
even
not
have
walk
driven it
down.
up. Yeah. So we
Nope.
left it there, and we got a ride back. I mean, Chris was when we come down there. Chris like spilling his beer on the dash. We hit the tree, and so I'm like, shit. So the next day we came back up, and I think buddy of mine Lee came up, and we had to get like chains and like
And
an
big
old
come along, right?
yeah, and pull it backwards up off the tree, and then block the wheels with like chunks of wood, and then drive it down. But I buckled the hood and messed up the the front bumper and the grill, the quarter panel, pushed it back in the driver's door. It's like, damn, it was bad.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a memory. Like it's
Yeah.
a hilarious story.
Yeah,
And I remember when you guys showed up back to your grandma and grandpa's. It's like, where's your truck? And he's
yeah,
like,
I know.
it's like, it's on the hill. It's all right. It's on the hill, and like. That story came out over time, exactly what happened there.
But luckily, I was the last guy down the hill, because if I wasn't, other people wouldn't have got by me.
I don't think many people drove up, because I remember back then, if all the trucks were at the bottom, that was a sign the hill was not good.
Yeah, because this is all before cell phones. It's before.
Yeah.
I can remember.
We might have had one 4-wheeler at that time.
I can remember being here as a kid that when somebody would get here, you
You
would
would flash
turn the
the
power
lights.
on and off.
Oh, yeah.
You would literally flip the power on and off
Yeah.
so that somebody would know that there's something.
Yeah,
here.
go down and pick them up with
Yeah.
a Jeep or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're right. I forgot about that.
It is kind of crazy sitting here and thinking about like back prior to, Instagram, where it's like, oh, I'm on my way to camp, like you know what everybody's doing, like
Right.
now.
Yeah,
back then, you had no clue. It's like,
You tell somebody like 4 hours earlier, I'm going to try to be there by 9. And you sit there and be watching Fantasy Island or Dukes of Hazzard or something.
or some
And
midget
you'd be watching
playing a bongo drum or
in
something.
Verde Villages.
Yeah, Verde, yeah.
Anything with any value has a midget involved, whether it be a video or a television show.
Wee Man something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid Rock.
Game of Thrones.
But we'd be watching, looking out the window, and you just see like a lone vehicle coming down, and we
Yeah, we'd
take
be like,
turns
I think it's somebody.
looking
Yeah.
at they keep going. And when they pull in, we used to say, pull in and flash your lights, and we say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we'll go down. And if they didn't, and we flash the outhouse light, which is down here on the break of the hill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if the people didn't see it, and you're down there flashing your lights, you go in and hit the power on and off.
Yeah, that was
You're like,
last resort to shut the power off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a mayday.
yeah.
And when we had the generator, that wasn't an option, so they had to flash their headlights because our power was up here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that's why we had the headlight, the outhouse signal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Very primitive, but it worked.
It was. It did work. I mean, that we didn't need all that. We didn't need all the technology.
There's that time that Mike Simons, they flipped the Jeep going down.
See, I was going to tell that story.
Flipped it. I never heard that.
They didn't-
You
well,
didn't-
they tipped
I
it over.
was here.
I've never
I was a
heard
witness.
Yeah, I mean, you were here.
So it was during archery season, 1980 something, and
There's a song
that's
about
a song,
that.
isn't it?
yeah.
Oh, that's 1970 something. I
No,
think.
you're right.
That
It's
was
1980.
Well, they
Stretch
make it to the
Armstrong
80s.
and
Oh yeah.
Daisy Dukes.
Time.
So
Oh, Daisy Duke.
I was here, and it was archery season. I was probably like 14 or so, and it was a Saturday, and I had been here hunting, and
Are you sure
everybody
it was a
else had
Saturday?
left. Yeah, it was
I mean, it's
definitely-
kind of like you were.
no, it was definitely a Saturday.
Okay.
We weren't allowed
So-
up here unless it's a weekend.
So everybody, I was the only one here for some reason. Everybody else had left, and it was about 3 in the afternoon, and I heard the Jeep start up down there, and I think I knew Uncle Mike was coming, my brother Mike. So I ran down to the edge there. I was all excited, and I looked down the hill, and I could see Mike and his best friend Mike Simons hopped in the Jeep, and I saw the Jeep fire up, and they're coming up the hill, and I'm standing there by the wood line looking down, and they came up that long stretch, and they got about halfway up it, and the Jeep just quit out. It just stopped running, and it started just rolling backwards. And I'm watching it,
That
and I'm
model
like,
was not equipped with brakes.
No.
I'm gonna find out.
Seriously, it never had brakes.
No, never had
You
brakes.
just put it in first gear and just
Okay.
yeah.
Because I never knew it to have brakes. I just assumed that they didn't work, but it
No,
just
they
never
did not.
had it.
Well,
Well, no,
they
those
had or
brakes
didn't
didn't.
work. You know, same
You're
thing.
right. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It didn't work.
So the Jeep cuts out, and I'm actually pretty scared for them. They're rolling backwards in this Jeep, and there's no roof on it. It's just an open-top Jeep for the listeners. There's no roll bar. There's nothing. No roll cage. And they're flying backwards, and it goes up on the side hill, and the Jeep tips over. And I see my brother go flying out of the Jeep, and Mike Simons was driving it, and I couldn't see him. I'm looking down. I'm like, holy crap. And Mike Simons was trapped under the Jeep. His
Yeah, his
left
leg-
leg was
yeah.
outside the Jeep because there's no doors on it. There's no
No.
top on it. And I see my brother Mike run around the side, and he literally lifted the Jeep off Simons. It was like watching the
Chisel.
Incredible Hulk. Yeah,
Chisel
Yeah.
had a surge of adrenaline. In
he
it.
did.
Yeah.
He did. So he lifted
So-
the Jeep off him. They fired it up. The battery cable wasn't on all the way. They tightened
That's
up a little
why
bit.
it.
It stalled. Yeah.
So they came up, and
That's
Simon's leg was all swelled up,
Yeah.
and they sat here and drank beer all afternoon. They did. There was Jenny beer.
The swelling went down. It was
So we all sat here and drank beer, and kind of worked through the incident and laughed
You
about it.
said you were 14.
Yeah, well, I might have had water. Or something. But yeah, that was.
I think they came by the house on the way home, and
Yeah, he was seriously. His leg was
his
pretty
leg
bad.
was all swollen.
But we
up and
sat
shit.
here for hours.
That Jeep, I can remember riding up the hill with Grandpa and hitting that first corner, and it's not because it's only 2-wheel drive, but it had tire chains on the front, right?
No,
Or was it tire
it
chains?
was 4-wheel drive.
Was it 4-wheel drive?
Yeah,
But I can remember not.
they left him 4-wheel drive all the time.
getting to that first corner and
So
it
scary.
not making it, and
You have to go back and
you
try
would
to-
get when we would have enough snow on the ground that you'd have the ruts, so you're pretty much like on a roller coaster
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
you
you're
roll
not
back down
coming
and
out of
go
the
again.
ruts. Like I can remember getting to that first corner and Grandpa's like, "We're not gonna make it." And so
Save
I
yourself.
just he's like I got it. We're gonna roll backwards, and there's no brakes.
Yeah.
So I remember just bailing out, and I mean I was terrified, just absolutely terrified. I don't know how old I was, but I just bail out the side of it, and Grandpa's just rolling this thing backwards, just wheeling this
Yeah.
freaking. Now was it always literally everything from the engine compartment back is wood?
The bed was plywood, and actually the seat was
The seat
Yeah.
was wood.
So yeah, it was pretty much.
yeah. It was just a frame of a
I
Jeep.
almost think there was 2 Jeeps.
Yeah, there was
Early
Jeep 1
on.
and Jeep 2.
Early on, it had like a bench seat. Or,
Yeah, and that was like a World War II Jeep, like the 1940s. The second one was a blue one that's still down
Yeah,
there. They
right.
had like the plywood bed, the plywood
it was
seats.
the same vintage kind of. But,
Yeah, like, that was
but
1950s.
but I can
Classic marine grade plywood, beautiful.
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
beautiful body.
I
on
mean,
it.
Right.
look at how well that marine grade.
It's
plywood
held
is
right
held
up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's still solid as a rock.
Solid, hasn't run in. We were joking about that. It'd be sweet.
You could
to
probably
free-
go get it going.
to get that thing going. Like it would be.
There's
sweet.
like probably nothing. There was a battery. You have a carburetor and spark plugs.
Jimmy and I were talking about actually
Yeah.
taking it back to his house
Yeah.
and rebuilding it one
Yeah,
day.
because he's got nothing going on.
Yeah,
Right.
He's got the
He's
mechanical
got all the
skills.
tools in his garage.
He's a technician. He's not a mechanic. That's the problem. He can't put a computer on it.
Yeah.
So Jimmy's got all you guys sandbagged. He ain't shit for a mechanic. I know he can put an exhaust system on, but anybody can do that.
Calling him out.
I am calling him out.
Right here.
Where is he?
Oh,
He's not here.
He's not here.
yeah.
He didn't care enough.
Jimbo.
Did not care.
Slacking.
He is missed.
He doesn't have ex-girlfriends because of that. He has a wife, and they're married.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, so we're
Okay, so
I was gonna say some
So-
stuff there,
I think we got some great Thanksgiving deer stories.
We do have some
Yeah.
great.
Some
So
deer
we're gonna
kills.
go around. We're gonna
listen,
go.
I still have a couple other
Clockwise.
vehicles. Can I tell one other
I
vehicle
want.
story? Just
I love
one?
these vehicle stories. Tell me another.
And we were coming from maybe a bar downtown. It might have been the Middletown Tavern.
Water,
Grabbing a case of water.
chicken wings.
Yeah, and I think you or Mike were with me. I had my S10 four-wheel drive. We were coming up the hill. For some reason, I had the window half open, and we're flying up. Is it you?
What did you pass us well off?
Yes.
That shit was hilarious.
It was so random and weird. We're driving
laugh,
up the
just
hill. I had the window down this much. We're like driving up the hill. Like, hey, I went to look out the window. We hit a hole, and it hit the bottom of the rim of my glasses. And went bloop, and my glasses flew out the window. I'm driving up the hill towards the first switchback.
I forgot
I'm like,
about
fuck. And I stop on the side hill. Maybe I went up around the corner. I don't fucking remember. But I stopped and like, dude, Chris, like, what's up? I go, my glasses just flew out the window.
Oh my god!
I just turned and they hit the window. Was rolled down halfway and they hit. And so they flew out. So, and the funny thing is, so we got flashlights. We were looking down, and I freaking found them in the leaves on the side of the trail, which was the other incredible thing. I found a pair of glasses. It was like this time of year. It might have been Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, I
But
think
it was so
yeah.
random and weird. I just went like, hey, look out the window. I probably didn't realize it was only halfway down. But it hit the bottom and it flipped and flew out the window. And I'm like, holy shit. It's like so random and weird. And
That was funny.
one other time, coming up the hill with your dad years back, we had a GMC, his truck, GMC four-wheel drive, short bed, come up the hill, and it was snow again. All you see him spinning like crazy, spinning. And we're like, shit, we can't make it. We're around the switchback. And we start sliding back and messing around. He slid backwards I don't know how the hell we did it, but in the switchback, there's a little room to go backwards. Yeah. We slid backwards, and the front end slid down. We ended up driving down. We turned around. We did a 180.
Yeah.
In the middle of the road.
I did that
weird.
with my I did that same thing with my Bronco.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Really?
I got like 3/4 away up to the first corner, and it was my Bronco. So it was your old Bronco too. And the 4-wheel drive didn't work on it.
Oh.
And but the road was dry.
Yeah,
I got to that first corner, and it started spinning. And I actually had Jake, my cousin Jake, I had him in the truck, and he was probably 13, 14. I don't know how much older I am than him, but whatever. I was driving age. He was, and it was in the morning, and I can remember Uncle Mike, for whatever reason, Uncle Mike was like coming down the hill.
Really?
And I'm like trying to drive up the hill with my Bronco because I was like, I gotta be a man, I gotta drive my Bronco up the hill.
Yeah.
And I get to that close to that first corner, and all of a sudden I'm just, my rear tires are just spinning.
Wow.
And the same thing happened. I don't know how, I have no idea, but that truck, and you know how that thing was short.
Narrow. It was like a
and
Jeep.
all of a sudden I just whipped around 180, and I'm going right back down forwards
Really?
on the hill. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
And I did the same thing. I tried to go up the lower road, and I bottomed out somewhere along there. And Mike's right there. He's like, "What do you just leave your damn truck at the bottom of the hill? We have four-wheelers." But it's like it's a rite of passage to drive your truck up here.
I
It's
had
like
a two-wheel drive Chevy years back, like a 75, 76 when I was in high school. It had been early archery or something. I drove it up the hill. It was like bound and determined. It's two-wheel drive. I'm going to get it up the hill.
Yeah.
You got to go like hell. But, if it's dry, you have a chance. But if you can get around the first corner, you got a chance.
Yeah.
I can remember Aunt Karen driving her Buick up this hill.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
She did. I remember that.
I can remember that.
What?
Yes. Like during the summer, she would drive her Buick up the hill. Swear to God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like
remember
Buick, whatever the hell version it would have been in the early 90s.
It was like probably a Regal or a
Regal
or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's badass.
Unbelievable.
That's badass.
Aunt Karen's, she's badass.
Jesus Christ.
Flashback Thursday or Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
And Aunt Karen, man. Tell you
Damn.
what.
So there is one other Thanksgiving accident story. I forgot about this. I burned my hand really bad on that stove over there on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Because this table we're sitting at here used to be over there by the stove, by the
We used
fireplace.
to make us sit by the stove to eat meals, and your side of your face would be like burning.
So where was the furniture then?
It was over here.
The furniture was over here.
Really?
I forgot that, Chris.
Yeah.
But yeah, the table was over here, and they had the couches over
Yeah.
here, so you slept away from the heat, but you ate right next to it.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Thanksgiving morning.
I like the way it's set up now.
Yeah, I do too.
I
Yeah,
feel
it's
good
much
about
better.
it.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving morning, I was probably in 6th or 7th grade, and we did our morning hunt, whatever. I don't even think I was old enough to hunt. The guys did, and it was the Madigans, the Harveys, everybody here. Well, we got back, and we were goofing around, and Columbus started chasing me around the cabin.
He was a troublemaker.
Isn't he pretty
It's a pretty upstanding guy
upstanding
now.
citizen now?
Yeah, okay.
There's a
no,
skeletons
that's
in the
not-
closet.
That's a different
Yeah.
Columbus we're talking
Right,
So-
yeah, right.
So Columbus started chasing me around the table over there, and I was running around the table, we're laughing, I lost my balance, and just instinctively I put my right hand down on the top of that fireplace, just like quick, and the whole palm of my hand was like 2nd degree, just blistered up. It was honestly most pain I've ever had in my life. Nothing hurt worse than that burn.
Really?
I remember coming over here, and my dad got back, everybody got back from hunting, and I had it in the sink like in ice. And I went home, and it was Thanksgiving Day because Grandma was working at a nursing home over in like Canisius.
Yeah.
And they took me by there, and she had some ointment cream she put on there, and actually felt better after that.
Nice.
But that was one of the most painful things I've ever had happen.
I just thought you had
And then
several.
I broke
injuries here.
my arm over here too. So.
Well, yeah.
Gonna go
Yeah.
see a guy about a horse.
Did you shut it off or?
No, you guys
So-
are still talking.
Okay. Well,
So yeah, I broke my arm. Do you want to tell that?
I don't remember.
That was
There's-
before the burnt hand.
over here in the valley. There was a little.
Wasn't even that far. It was right
It's the
here.
other way.
No, out to the south. There was not a valley, but a gully.
Oh.
There was vines.
There was vines here. We used to grab the vines and swing out over that little gully. You know where Grandpa's spot was? You had the
Yeah.
blind set up. Just past that, there's that little gully
Yeah,
there. On the
okay.
other side of that, and there was an old trapper's cabin there and stuff. But we used to get on the side hill, me and Chris and Columbus and Brother Mike and all that. And we'd swing out on the vines. And Chris went out to do it one time, and like the vine broke right?
I broke my arm.
He fell down and broke his damn arm.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely 6th grade. I broke my arm because it was the only time in my life I had a cast on my arm.
Yeah.
And and that was over there. And And that might have been like bow season. We were up here
Yeah,
just
it was,
goofing around.
it was early season. There wasn't snow, but
So
but
yeah, I
then
broke my arm.
You
and
remember
then,
the other injury you got up here?
talking about the eye? Do you
No.
remember that?
No.
Well, what's the other injury? The one was
The
the
Pringles
thing.
can.
No, I don't remember the Pringles can.
What?
You cut the hell out of your hand on a Pringles can. You cut it yourself
It
really
must
good.
have been a
Remember,
vicious Pringle can back in the day.
I kind
Pringles
of
can.
do.
Remember you peel it off, and it was like a sharp.
Well, back
serrated
then it
edge
was
on
a
the
real
inside.
bad. Yeah.
So you get punished to go in and get Pringle chips.
I forgot.
Yeah,
about
you cut yourself to some level. I mean, I stuck out my mind. We're like, damn, Chris is injured again. Like he's got the stove. He just broke his arm. Now the Pringle can injury.
Well, there's the Pringle can. It doesn't stand out in my memory as much. But I was up here with Dad, really young, probably now we're talking 4th or 5th grade. We were on top of the South Hill, and we're standing up there looking out over the valley, and something went in my eye. Like a piece of wood or something went in my eye.
Right.
And I was like, geez, I got some eye, and I started rubbing it, and it scratched my eyeball.
Ah.
And he had to take me home. It was that bad. It lasted for like 3 days. Ended up, they took me to the doctor, like a piece of wood chip got in my eye.
Oh wow.
And so, yeah,
I forgot
guess I
about
have
that,
had
or
that.
didn't.
yeah, I was really young then. But
Yeah.
I remember, I don't think he was too happy. He had to walk me back down here and take me.
He had to go home.
I got
He
some
was pissed.
stupid crap in my eye. But I remember it being extremely painful. If you ever had your eyeball scratched, it was horrible.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than an eye injury. Honestly.
I'm
So,
sorry. I've scratched my eyeball,
so you can sympathize.
but that's a work related incident that I can't talk about. That would be a.
Should have been wearing
I'm
your
going
safety
to-
I
glasses.
should have been wearing
reportable.
safety
It's
glasses.
reportable.
The military, we
It was
call
actually
eye
it was soap. But anyway, that's we
Well,
should.
Well, they used to put soap in our mouth if we said bad words.
Yeah, it was. I put soap in my eye.
Because you saw something bad.
Yeah, I was trying to clean. I was trying to clean my eyes for what I'd seen.
Trying to clean the memories out of your eyes.
Yeah, just erase everything that had been there.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this truck back on.
Yeah, it's just-
Let's,
Okay,
let's
so
get to
some-
these. Let's
yeah.
get to these deer stories.
Proverbial, yeah.
We're
So
here to
we
kill deer.
all right. So yeah, the first. What are we at here? The first 36 minutes has been about the fact that the Harveys love to drink alcohol on Thanksgiving and do stupid shit. And so now what we're going to talk about is actually deer hunting.
Yes.
So there is a lot of great deer hunting tradition that goes with this holiday. There's a lot of family tradition as far as being up here at camp and spending time together and building memories. But the that's rookie podcasting stuff there.
Sorry.
For real. I mean, I'm insulted. And that's why it's hard for me to invite you to be on this, because I feel like
that part out.
you're a risk. You're a risk.
There's always one
Nowhere
person
near
who
the
doesn't
risk of
silence the
mayhem.
I am mayhem.
I know.
I know, and I'm the host, so I analyze risk around moi. So let's go around the table, because I know that everybody's got some good deer stories from this, but I guess, Uncle Chris, you've had quite a bit of success over the years on Thanksgiving up here, and there's a couple things I would like to hear. I know you've shot a couple good bucks on Thanksgiving up here at camp, but also being hung over isn't. And that's a term. That's a term that I think people need to know, because everybody knows what it is to be hung over, but I don't think they know what hung over is. So can you explain the origin of being hung over?
Well, this would have been going back to probably my senior year in high school, so it was probably 1986 or 87, probably 86 to be specific.
And you were a super senior, because you'd been.
I've been doing a lot of great things my senior year. So
Yeah.
yeah, my hair was quite long at that time.
It was the 80s.
I was in a rock band,
Yeah.
and played guitar and did a lot of awesome things.
I thought you started to say heroin.
That's what I thought he was
I'm like, wow.
Oh,
I didn't
No.
know
never
that.
knew that about you.
No.
I did not dabble in that. So
Out of Mountain Dew? No.
No,
there's
not.
there's
No,
another
there's
12 pack of
another.
Mountain Dew right there.
Oh, okay.
Open your eyes, son. So getting back to the story. So yeah, it's 1986. I come up. I'd gotten a doe before. I'd never gotten a buck.
All right, I gotta interrupt you. You're very good with dates.
Yes.
Between dates and days, like you were very sure that it was a Saturday in that one last story.
Yeah.
Yes, it was with the Jeep and stuff.
Okay, so, all right, commence.
So
1986.
this was
great
definitely
year.
a Thursday because I don't.
Year
Thanksgiving
before I was conceived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The year I
we're
was.
up here. Me and my brothers come up, and it might have been one of the same nights. I know Tim had his S10. It was right around that same
No,
period.
it was pre-S10.
Okay, so it was going back, but we got up here and had some drinks. We enjoyed some drinks, a lot of drinks.
Wait a minute, never mind.
And the next morning...
There was an 86 S10.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the next morning we get up, and I decided to go... I was going to go hunting what we call over north there. There's over by the fields where Noto are now.
Yeah.
That was a nature conservancy.
A no hunting zone.
Yeah. So back in the 1980s, it was allowed. If the owner didn't know about it, it was okay to hunt.
No, yeah, it's like a stop sign with the white line around it. It's optional.
Yeah. So,
yeah, right. No, I totally understand.
Just suggestion.
The rules were different.
Was that the same year that you could use your doe tag on a buck?
It might have been. That was a good year.
No, but that was illegal. Like, you legally could use your doe tag on a buck.
Well, your dad said that. None of us remember, but your dad said so.
So that you don't remember that?
None of us do.
No.
But your dad's pretty good with regulations, so.
Yeah, because he tells that story all the time. Like,
I know.
and he's super.
It's quite possible he's right, but I don't remember it.
But that's Dad, He's like
He's a salesman.
he's a salesman.
So
Here's your father.
Plant corn to get corn.
Apple tree.
Yeah.
So getting back to the story, I am hung over the next morning. I had a few hours sleep. I drank too much, but I was excited. It was Thanksgiving morning. I was a little foggy, but I grabbed
the definition of hungover.
the
Use it in a sentence.
definition of hungover is feeling disoriented, hard time putting cohesive thoughts together, but having the basic motor functions to survive
and to hunt.
And to hunt.
And provide for your family.
It was a basic instinct as a young man.
And this is typically a condition as a result of a good time prior.
Too much alcohol consumption with friends and family, primarily family.
Hunt over. Hashtag hunt over.
Hashtag hunt over. Follow me now. So, I'll never forget.
Hashtag
I
must be nice.
I had long hair and I had this plaid hunt hat like Elmer Fudd would wear. I had this plaid hat and a big orange jacket, and I grabbed my 870 Remington, and I hunted over there, over north towards the fields and all that. So I get over there, what we used to call lower north. That was, your dad had a tree stand over there.
Was there a teepee over there?
There's a teepee.
It was way past the teepee.
Allegedly, I've never seen this teepee, but
I had to trespass past the nature center. I snuck across the nature center to the conservative. But
to the no hunting zone.
Nobody cared back then. Right?
No, right? No. Yeah, it's
so
statute of limitations.
Yeah. So here's the funny part: is I get over there to this area I intended to hunt, and I run into another hunter. And I saw him, and he's like, I was going to go down to the fields to your dad's tree stand. And he's like, well, actually, he goes, we're putting on a drive right now. He goes, we're all going to be down there. He goes, if you want to stay up here. So it seemed like he was inviting me into the drive.
Right.
So I'm like, that's great. So I leaned up against a tree, and I'm feeling pretty crappy, so I light a cigarette. So I light a cigarette amidst this drive, and I knew they were down below me. I'm like, something comes out, whatever.
So what direction was the wind blowing?
Yeah. That I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And I don't think back then I cared.
No.
So I didn't understand the wind and all that. I just wanted to hunt deer. So I'm sitting there smoking a Marlboro Light, and out of the brush from the fields below me, because I'm facing to the south this way, here comes a nice buck. It was nice. It was a 7-point. I mean, pretty decent rack, like out to the ears. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, he popped out. I mean, it's the first time I'd had an opportunity in my life to shoot a buck. And he's like 60 yards away. And I don't even think I think the cigarette was still in my mouth. I started shooting at him, and
big
he
long ash hanging out the end of it, yeah.
And he's running across this little ridge in front of me, and by the 5th shot he was down. He was done.
So that's where you get it from.
That's where I get it from.
I think out of the 5 shots I had hit him 2 or 3 times. Being young, I wanted to see him go down, so I probably didn't need to shoot that much.
You keep shooting until he's down.
So I was super excited. I was like, I got my first buck. I was finally a man within the family. It's a big deal to get a buck.
It is a big deal.
So, but there's no cell phones. There's no way for me to tell these guys a mile away that I got a buck. So, and it didn't
on somebody else's drive.
Yeah. So,
this is classic.
So,
okay, cool.
So, I'm all excited. Right at the same time, all these guys emerge out of the brush. And, I'm excited to share I'm like, hey, I got a buck. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, these guys may not be too happy that I shot a buck
On their drive.
I missed the drive.
I injected myself.
So they came over and they're all kind of like, hey, good job, whatever. And I'm standing there and I pulled my knife out of my backpack or whatever. And then I look at one of the guys, I'm like, could you help me gut this? I don't know how to gut a deer. I'll never forget the guy like shook his head and he basically gut the deer for me.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding out later, your dad said, I think it was Frank Mueller, those guys down there, because they're like, hey, we're in this long-haired guy.
So was it Mueller's?
I think it was Mueller.
But let's talk about that.
But then I had to drag it back. Dragging a deer from way over there is no joke.
Yeah,
No.
down across the creek.
Across,
and back up.
yeah,
Holy
nobody
crap.
sees you. You get across the nature trail.
Right.
You know, Corey's used to be, people would go on hikes. It was like Cummings Nature Center.
Yeah.
It
You know, like
was.
look out and then sneak across.
Yeah. I remember getting escorted
was the
back
valley.
off their property when we were kids bow hunting.
What's that guy's name?
was it?
McMahon.
Yep.
McMahon.
McMath. I can't remember his name, but we get over so close to the trail, uphill from the creek. Nobody coming. We scurry down through across
Get
the
across
creek,
the
go up
creek.
the other side, and then go pick your spots. And then coming back, it wasn't bad like in the evening because you come back in the dark or semi-dark.
During the day, you'd hear people like going for walks on
Yeah,
that
you
trail.
hide
Back
by
to
a
the valley.
tree, and they'd be walking by, and then try to get down across. It was like,
But it was so back when you guys were in your teens, like it was a totally different day
yeah.
with hunting where everybody hunted everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like there was not posted signs, there was
Not,
not
not
you
as
just-
much.
you just hunted everywhere you
Yeah.
wanted. It's like that's like Adam's been up here, like you and Jimmy were up here that one night and that dude just you were up here on a Thursday night or a Friday night
It was a Friday night.
and this guy just like you guys have heard some shots up on the hill above us
Yeah.
and this is in the last 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah,
It was a while ago, but-
maybe probably 7 years ago.
But like this guy, you guys end up running into him on the on our driveway.
Right next to the garage.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I've been hunting here my whole life, and it's like,
What?
what? This is our property. Like we own
owned it
this.
for a long time.
Yeah, for like 25 years. Yeah. But it's like that's the way it was. Like to kind of make it, to
Yeah.
kind of bring it all.
Yeah.
What you guys were doing, like that was the norm. 40, 35. Well,
Yeah.
so you're.
I'm 50 now, so yeah, it would have been, 35 years ago. I was
35 years
15,
ago,
16
it was a
years
free
old.
for all. Like there was people hunting
now these people,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Now these people over here, you didn't have all.
What do you
this.
mean by those people? What do you mean? by
What
that?
was it? Gill straps? That like you guys
Gill
didn't.
straps used to have.
You guys
that
didn't own
back
all the land. You could only go a couple hundred yards that way, and there was posted signs. You did not go any further to like where the staging area. Somebody else owned it, and they were strict on it. Like,
Were they?
Yeah, I remember because we just didn't go that way.
Yeah, it was a known fact.
Yeah, so we would either go up to South Hill or.
So
head
you would
down.
go to the nature centers.
So we never hunted
Yeah,
south.
they were tree huggers. They didn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, we got escorted a few times off. Come on, I see you guys up there. I'm like, okay, come on, behind the tree. You're like 14, 15. You're like, all right, no, I'm gonna come talk to. Come over. I remember him saying before. This struck me so weird. We're gonna come over to the Madigan estate, and I will tell them you guys must not come over here anymore.
estate.
Yeah.
This is an estate.
Well, that's what he honestly.
I'll
That's
be
what he called
damned.
it because it stuck in my head
Wow.
all these years.
It's very
And
formal.
we're like, okay, and then we come back over. Yeah, they caught us on there. I'm like, okay,
The next
Just
day,
be
you
better.
right back over
try
there.
to do better, not get caught.
Yeah, next time. So
Yeah.
what? So you come back here and you look at the maps and say we went here, but they knew we were
There's
there.
no
So
map.
There was no maps.
We would take a piece of paper and I'd draw.
you weren't on X like dropping pins.
We
and
just
saying
knew
we can't go.
there was a
here.
hill there and there was a creek over there. You had to cross. There was
Yeah.
teepees over there.
There's, two hills, a creek, and a teepee.
There might be an
Base
Indian in the
everything.
teepee. We're not sure. The last 3 times we've gotten close there, we've gotten shunned away, so we're not sure what's going on there.
So that buck was a big deal to me. That was my first buck. A lot of great memories. Pretty funny
There's a
story.
picture.
Was that when you
floating around
had
there
fallen
somewhere.
asleep by the tree, and somebody found you?
No, I don't know about that.
Come on, that's the story I know. Is that not a real story?
That's not the same story.
Oh, it's
So it doesn't exist.
I was by myself that day.
okay.
Yeah.
No, me falling asleep. Just a couple years ago, I fell asleep over here, and David walked up on me.
No, I'm talking about like
Back then.
way back.
Yeah, that's all.
Back in
I
the
don't
hair
know. They
days.
might have-
It's all a blur. That's pre-Marines and
There's pre-Marines and after
Sergeant
Marines.
Harvey,
and
yeah.
I was a little more squared away after the Marines.
correct.
Yeah.
Roger that, sir.
But I did get a nice buck later. Probably my other most memorable hunt was the nice 8-point I got right over here. I was hunting that little ladder stand you and your brother had up, and they'd make fun of you guys, call it the diaper stand because it was so close to the cabin.
Yeah, you could see the cabin from there, so we were.
Yeah, and I would go hop in there. I'm like, it's a good spot. Why are you guys walking 20 miles when I think that's a good area? And I shot tons of deer out of it. But
Yeah, you did.
that buck came up. He was huge. Now, remember the cold front came through. It was like 50 degrees, and by 7:30 in the morning, it was like 30 degrees. I remember your dad put his hood up, and he put black tape around his neck.
Yeah, electrical tape.
Yeah, electro tape.
He had a hoodie, and
It was so cold.
It was that wind was howling that day.
was.
You know what? And it's funny because think of that. Now it's Thanksgiving Eve, and what do we have today? A
Wind.
ridiculous
Yeah.
cold front came
Yeah.
through. It's funny,
They're
but
both-
I can remember that Dad was sitting there. That wind was. I want to say that wind was blowing out of the east or the south, and Dad was hunting
He was
straight
right
above
me.
you.
And he claimed some of my rounds were coming near him, but
Alleged.
alleged.
That deer absorbed.
I hit him 4 out of 5 times.
Correct. Wait, what?
What's with you guys?
There's a normal.
Listen, he was
Pattern.
he was
I
a
see the
big
pattern.
he was a big buck, and when I shot the first time, he turned in my favor and came right across above me, and I hit him every time until
So he
dropped.
turned in your favor after you shot at him.
Yeah, because he was going away. I would have lost him. Had I not shot, he would have gone on his merry way up the hill.
Right to Dad, to the old electrical tape wonder up there on the hill.
And that was back when I was very ambitious. Now I hunt with a muzzleloader. It's typically one shot.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the old 870. I wanted to get the job done. I wanted a deer, and 90% of the time it worked out. But
That was the year you shot that one here and a nice one on Briggs Road.
that was a different year actually.
Really?
The other Thanksgiving, I shot the 8-point with Mike up top the hill, and that was the same year I got my bear in the Adirondacks. And then I got the nice 9-point I got mounted in Lima.
But
Yeah. So that's my stories. I know these other guys have great stories.
so Joe.
Yeah.
Okay,
The legend of Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
I'm curious to Joel, like, what does the Thanksgiving hunt mean to Joel?
Yeah, what is this, Joe?
what does
You know,
it mean to you?
So Joe, you are what? 18 years old.
17.
You're 17.
Yeah.
I view you as being much more mature than that. You're a senior in high school,
Yeah.
and so you've been serious. I mean, you've pretty much been serious about hunting really since you've been able to hunt.
Yeah, since I could hunt.
You've been up here.
Yeah.
And I can remember even before you were able to carry a license, you were out with us when it was
Yeah.
bitter cold.
Before I could gun hunt, I'd just carry my bow. through
Yeah,
gun
you
season.
shot it. You shot a few deer with your
Yeah.
bow during gun.
Yeah, I did.
I'll never forget that doe you shot back in the valley.
We're gonna. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
legal?
It was
Yeah,
during.
yes.
It was
Okay,
It
I
was
just
during-
want. I'm gonna check.
No,
our
that
legal
you
counsel.
use your bow during gun
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, you can use bow.
Okay,
Yeah. Because he had his bow.
I mean,
and
this
we-
is a nationwide podcast, so
No, that's 100%
I just
legal.
want to make
Yeah,
sure
that's-
we're
we all
meeting
thought
all
he
the
was-
standards and
he was
regulations.
nuts. We were like, go here. We're all going to be back around here. Go here. You never know what's going to happen. It was my ladder stand back in the valley behind the pond. And
Yeah,
Yeah, I was sitting there and I'm just like looking up the side hill, kind of playing on my phone because I was bored. I hadn't seen anything. And all of a sudden, 2 bucks come following this doe across the hill, and they're like zigzagging back and forth. And then they cut back, and they freaking run across, the logging road. And there's 2. They were good bucks. I don't know why I didn't shoot at one of them. But this big doe just stops on the road. And I freaking whacked her with my bow, and that was the easiest blood trail I've ever found.
yeah. I can remember
Yeah.
you guys talking about how that blood trail was just insane.
it
Yeah.
was insane. And
That was pretty cool. So you were 14 at that point, or were you
Yeah, I
15?
14 or 15, probably.
Yeah, 14 or 15.
Yeah. So would have been 2 years ago.
Cousin Eddie.
Was it 2 years? It was 2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah.
ago, yeah.
So we had this buck, and Dad and I think we talked about Cousin Eddie on a podcast a few episodes ago at some point about this buck that we called Cousin Eddie that was like, he was showing up on trail camera everywhere. Every day that we were up here hunting, he was literally making an appearance to everybody's tree stand. And we're like, this deer is just a piece of work. It's Cousin Eddie. Don't shoot him. So
Well,
Thanksgiving Day comes along.
Yeah.
And this is where Joe comes into the scene.
so I'm sitting at the, what stand is that?
Bob's
Bob stand.
up on the side hill.
So I'm just looking, and all of a sudden, I see this buck feeding across the hill. And I'm looking at it. It's a little, was it a 4-point or a 6-point?
4.
He's a 4-point.
It was pretty small. But I was like, you know what? That's a nice buck. I'm going to shoot it. And it bends down like, I don't know, 60 yards to the left of me. And I'm sitting there and I'm texting people and I'm like, hey, I got this little 4-point right next to me. And they're like, oh, that's Cousin Eddie. You know, it's a sad story. I felt bad afterwards,
Rip
but in the
Eddie,
moment,
yeah.
you know, I was gonna kill Cousin Eddie, and
Which we all knew that was coming.
it was inevitable.
We knew he would not survive
Yeah.
Joe, the deer slayer.
So
That is
deer
his
slayer.
nickname.
he's laying down, and he's facing me. I watched him sleep for like 2 hours. He'd get up every once in a while, look around. He actually watched you guys drive the ATV back
Yeah.
because you had picked up a deer, and I see you guys driving, and Cousin Eddie just looking at you. He thinks he's safe. And I'm texting my friend Josh Phelps, and I'm like, "Hey, can I shoot a deer while it's laying down and facing me?" And he was like, "Yeah, go for it." So I'm like, "Oh,
So
okay."
he's your legal counsel.
Yeah.
Josh Phelps.
I know.
At that
He's
time, yes,
also
that's my legal
15 years
counsel.
old or 16
Right.
years old.
Yeah.
Sir, can
So-
I?
So I asked, and he was like, "Yeah, just put it right in there, and you're good." So I shoot, and I know I hit him, but not very good. Either way, runs 10 yards in front of me, 5 or 6 shots, I think 4 hit, and I was all excited, like I just killed Cousin Eddie. And later on, I feel bad, but
I wouldn't feel bad. It's a
No,
I mean, it's just a legend to that buck.
It was a
You know?
legend. That deer
He
created
was such a special deer.
There's very rarely you get a deer that's up here, like we're in the woods. It's not like we're on farmland where it's like super patterned. Like
Right.
that deer was everywhere.
I saw him that morning too. He came by me
Yep.
Yeah.
and then head up towards Joe, and then two doe came.
He just
to
came
him.
by to say hi and
Yeah.
goodbye.
He probably thought he was safe up there. He probably saw
did.
me.
He probably
He's
did.
like, you know,
Probably
these
did.
guys are cool.
They're cool, man. They plant food plots and you
Yeah.
know cut down trees so I have browse in the winter. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't make it,
didn't make
but
it.
that was a fun hunt.
It was a fun
It's a
hunt.
great memory. It
So
was,
I mean, you really haven't had that many Thanksgiving hunts, really.
no,
You've only had
not
three,
really. I mean,
three or four.
I've been coming up here
Yeah.
forever, but not
Yeah.
many Thanksgiving actual hunts. Last year, was it Thanksgiving when we shot that doe?
You did. You got a
Me
deer
and you
last
still
year.
went all the way back through
Yeah,
the
back
valley.
in the valley, I
Yeah.
picked it.
Yeah.
I picked you guys up.
Yeah, that was cold as hell. What was that?
Oh
Yeah,
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 last
that
year
was-
it
that
was
was
like
amazing.
five. It was like
Yeah,
5
there was
It was
degrees.
like
What a
5
snow.
degrees, yeah.
It was like 5 degrees out.
And we were
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That deer came running down off the hill at 100 miles an hour. Came running down the road. I thought it was going to run over us. And all of a sudden it saw us like 10 yards away, blocked up the brakes, jumped down over the hill, ran out into the swamp, and Joe was ready to shoot it as it was running. I'm like, no, wait, it's going to stop. And
no.
sure-
I shot it on the logging road.
No.
Yes. It skid the brakes on the logging road, and I shot it, and then it ran. And I wanted to shoot it 3 or 4 more times.
No, because it,
Yeah,
it
3
ran
or
out
4.
into the swamp and stopped, and that's when you hammered it, and it ran like 10 yards
Yeah.
and fell over.
I mean, your stories aren't.
I thought I shot it on the logging road because it hammered the brakes, literally skid to a stop. It's looking at us, and I pulled up, hammered it, and then it's running through the swamp. It only made it like 50 yards, but I was like, I pulled up to shoot again. You're like, no, it's gonna drop, and it did drop. I thought that's how it went.
I don't remember it that way.
That's not the way you remember it.
Well, we've got different stories, but the deer died.
It's all right.
deer
Either,
died.
either way,
It happened.
It was fun.
It was a fun hunt.
And then Chris came along, and
Then we ran into all the doe up in the pines.
Yeah.
We took a shot at those.
you shot it with 223.
Yeah, I had my AR-15.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you?
That was a long ways up.
So Joe's had some good memories up
Yep.
here in his few Thanksgiving hunts he's had. Mm-hmm. So Adam, you've got. Is that your best buck you've ever shot?
No.
What was the best buck you've gotten?
2 years ago, the year
With
I
your
shot
bow.
my bear.
You got the archery
one I
buck.
got with,
Yeah.
with
So
my
that
bow.
that buck with your bow was your best one. But
Yeah.
So your first buck,
My
your
first deer.
deer
Ever.
was on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep. Your dad had actually shot it opening day.
Yeah.
And we tracked it and never found it. And then I think Mike and Jimmy were coming down the upper logging road down over the hill, and we were kind of all spread out along the base of the hill. And I was set up over by the camper, and I think I was the farthest one to the south, and everyone else was back this way, north. And we're waiting for him to come along, and all of a sudden our phones start blowing up, and I think Mike had called Tim and said, hey, I got this buck up here. It's a good buck, come up, because Mike had already shot a buck that year, and Tim hadn't shot one in a couple of years. So Mike wanted Tim to get it. And when Tim was coming along the base of the hill, he stopped and grabbed me, And he's like, come on, let's go. Mike's got a buck up here bedded, and I want you to shoot it. You know, you haven't got a deer yet, ever, so it'd be cool for you to get it. And you had your film equipment.
Yeah, had the
film
camera.
equipment.
Yep.
So as we're going up the hill, you know, you're trying to film, you know, the story and play it all out as we go up the hill. And it's really steep. So we get like half the way up there, and we stop, and we're talking, doing a thing, and next thing you know, we look up the hill, and 50 yards up the hill, Mike steps out. He's like, shh, it's right here. And we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, we're all out of breath, and so we quick run up to him, and he's he points to the deer. You know, he creeps to the edge of the hill, makes sure it's still there, comes back. He's like, all right, it's like 50 yards down the hill, bedded, facing this way. You know, just you two creep up there. I'll stay back here, and you know, you should. It's right there. You can't miss it. Well, we creep up to the edge of the hill, and we're looking. We can't find it. Neither one of us.
Right.
Like, fuck, we don't see it. You know, where is this deer?
Right.
And Mike sees us talking, so he's like, psst, come here. So we crawl back to the road, and he's like, there's a tree down. He's like, it's only 50 yards away. You can't miss the thing. So we creep back up to the thing, and again, we can't see the deer.
Really?
It's weird. It's like,
Well,
you know, when you don't know where it is and you're trying to look, I don't know, it was...
Well, and you're looking for, so like the way, just to kind of paint the picture of this road, so this road is cut in, and this is it's a steep logging road going up the front face of our mountain, and it's cut into the hill.
Yeah.
So when you're going up the logging road, if you hug the inside of that road, you can't see over the hill. Mm-hmm. So we use that as a kind of a strategic approach there, because you can go up the inside of the road and you can peek over in those points, and that's a like Uncle Mike. That's a classic move from him.
Yeah.
Whenever when he's either beginning his hunt or finishing his hunt, he's always usually starting on that road and peeking over that hill. And once you get further on through the season, you can see the spots where he goes, because all the goldenrod and stuff is like knocked down where he goes out and peeks over the hill. So he knows exactly the spots when he's walking up that road to look over and what he's looking for. Like, he knows where the log is and what's not supposed to be there.
Right.
You know,
and
like,
it took me years to figure out, you know, I just thought he picked random spots. Well, every one of those spots that he goes out to, there's a tree there for him to rest on. Every single one of them. I didn't figure that out, you know, for several years. You know, I just thought they were random spots. You know, and no, he's got it figured out where there's a tree where he can rest on at every spot. So, so going back to the story is, you know, we're finally Mike, you know, comes up there with us, and he's like,
slaps us on the back of the head.
yeah, pretty much, you know,
It's right there.
and Tim's trying to get his cameras going, you know, and this deer, you know, finally this deer turns its head, and I see it, you know.
It looks and it sees it. I see it with he sees it. I see it with my eye. And I'm trying to zoom in on it with the camera. Hitting play, and it's on autofocus, and so it's focusing on the nearest branch or tree. I put a manual, and I'm trying to, and then finally it's like it's up. It stands up, it's looking.
It's looking up at
I'm
us.
just like,
and,
just shoot. Don't let the deer get away.
yeah.
You know.
did you get that?
I've got just after I got the shot and everything on the audio and stuff like that, and then I think it ran off. Then we got the interview afterwards and stuff. But I don't have it literally.
You don't have the kill shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't run off. It just dropped right back in its bed.
Yeah, I didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, and you know, we're looking at it, you know, right after I shoot, and you can see a hole in its leg. We're like, oh, you know, I thought I was aiming a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Higher than that. That's weird, but you know, it's dead. You know, we gave it a couple minutes and went down to it and get down to it, and I'm like, man, that hole doesn't look fresh.
So that was where Dad hit it.
That was where your dad hit it. Was right in the leg. There was a pretty decent sized hole, but you could see where the deer had been cleaning it, and you know,
Yep, it was doing fine.
It was starting to heal up. Yeah, it was doing fine.
It's crazy.
I know.
But
Tough.
yeah, that was my first deer ever.
I see. I didn't realize that was your first year. That's such an awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great buck too.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was an awesome deer.
Yeah.
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 And that was Thanksgiving Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving morning.
A lot of great memories, special things on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
A lot of things to be giving of thanks. So, Timbo, have you ever shot anything on Thanksgiving?
No, I don't think I.
I just remember you being up here. That's all I remember.
Yeah, Tim's not had the best luck on
No,
Thanksgiving.
I'm trying to think back. I remember shooting a doe up here that might have been Thanksgiving, but we could say it was Thanksgiving. But
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
positive if it
sounds
was or
like-
wasn't, honestly. But I remember it was the first deer I ever shot, and I was in high school. Went over there in the valley, and I think it was in what was
In
Dad's.
high school.
Yeah.
That was 30 years ago. 35 years ago.
Right. My first deer I ever shot.
Yeah, no. I thought that was the only one you've ever shot on Thanksgiving.
It might be.
Oh,
With that too.
Yeah.
No, literally, I have never shot.
Yeah, I
other
don't-
than that, I have never shot a deer.
Maybe
on
we should
Thanksgiving.
adjust your approach to tomorrow to maybe something a little different.
Well, I go on other people's recommendations, so.
We always garhole you. We put you in spots that we don't have to worry about you actually killing anything.
Well, I got a couple of
You have
funny
no buck
stories,
tag
but-
now, so
Right, I'm good now. You can just put me anywhere. But this, I remember I shot a doe and I had 2 yippers with it. And I remember from that, I'll never shoot a doe again with 2 yippers with it or any yippers. I was like, well, they wouldn't leave, and they're like, go
Yeah,
away.
that
I'm like,
happened to me
"Yeah,
last year,
I
yeah.
got a doe. And they're like, oh, mommy, yeah. I'm like, go away. I'm like, damn you for ruining my first kill ever, But that was across the way and stuff on the other side of the valley. But the only other memorable story they have is right after the ice storm years ago.
Yeah.
And it devastated the woods and trees down everywhere. And we came up here and stayed up too late and had too much fun. And when I got over and I said, I'm going to go up the side of the North Hill and hunt there. And that was before the logging road was cut in. And there's no roadway. And I went up and I just climbed and I'm feeling like crap. And I'm just climbing over shit and under shit. And I get up there and pick a spot where I can see down through, because deer could be bedded anywhere. And I sat there and I fell asleep for a while. I got up and I woke up and was like, okay, well, I'll start still hunting my way back down after I hunted a while. And I'm like, good God, how did I get up here? It sucked so bad getting back down. It's like
going down is worse than going up.
Because it was like you had to climb under and over. And I'm like, why did it not seem so bad coming up? But I just...
And there's like shale rocks everywhere.
Yeah, it was...
like tonight, I'm coming down the
You're
front face of the South Hill,
falling.
and I'm like, I didn't want to put my headlamp on. I was just
Yeah.
coming down the hill. It's like it's dark, and it's just slipping and falling, and
Yeah.
just these flat rocks that are just covered in leaves, and you're just
yeah, it's like ice.
Yeah.
You hit it and stuff. But yeah, that was really before the roadways were cut in and stuff. It was really brutal, just climbing a hill randomly.
That ice storm of '91 changed everything.
Yeah,
There-
it
bef-
thickened
be-
it up. And
Before the ice storm, you could walk out here and you could look right to the top of the hill. There was just straight trees. There was no fallen trees.
really.
Yeah, you could look right up to the
we
top.
used to climb the hill. So let's go up onto the hill, and we'd just randomly take a course up the hill. Then after a while, when we were younger, we were kids, and stuff, we'd find these big shale rocks. And you'd roll them like a tire, and they'd go poof, 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 and you could just watch it, and it would hit like a thing, and it would go up in the air, and go 20, 30 feet, and fly, and it would just go down and down.
Because
It
there was
just open.
there was just
Just
Yeah,
open
it was
market.
wide open, wide
Yeah.
open. After the ice storm, looked totally different here. There was trees down everywhere. It
Yeah.
was totally changed the
Which
landscape.
is great
It's
for
good,
deer
yeah.
habitat. And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And
definitely.
that was the year I left. I joined the Marines like a month after the ice storm. I went away for 8 years.
Yeah.
But I remember we had a cleanup day here. We all came up here
Yeah.
to help at the cabin with Bob Madigan because there's so many trees across the road and all over the place, and it was devastating. That storm was crazy.
Yeah, the other thing, talk about the classic things of Thanksgiving morning up here. The family and everybody hunting together, hunting hard. It's always like, okay, we got to be back by noon or leave by noon.
Yeah.
Good God. It's like a curse. It's like
Getting into hunts.
your dad would always go, well, let's just do a little drive across the side hill. And next thing you know, shit would erupt. And you'd get shots or get a deer down, or we're tracking a deer, and it's 11. It's 11:15. It's 11:30. I'm like,
Always
we
late.
got to get out of here. It was like nothing happened till like 11. Then next thing you know, we're shooting deer, we're tracking. We'd get them and stuff, but it's like, and we're all racing trying to get the hell out of here and get back for Thanksgiving dinner. But it was like, okay, we do nothing after 10. From now on, let's just. It just always happened. It always escalate and elevate and go.
I
up
think
to
cell phones have changed a lot of that because before you guys had cell phones, it was like we're gonna shoot to be home at noon.
Yeah.
And instead now it's
It'd
like,
be
you,
like
you can get a message and it's like, hope you're getting ready to head home, and it's like,
Yeah.
I haven't even started thinking about it yet.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I can remember, like, that's the stuff that I can remember as a kid, hearing the stories of you guys,
Yeah, Thanksgiving dinner.
pulling, you guys getting back and just truckloads full of deer, and like there was like 1 or 2 hunts that you guys had where, Dad, whoever it was that dropped off the front side of the hill, and there was just deer running everywhere.
Yeah.
And you guys ended up shooting like 3 or 4 deer.
Yeah.
On that one, just
That one year we got 4. Yeah.
was it 4?
And it was like 11 o'clock. It was like,
Yeah.
nothing all morning long. Then all happens right before you got to go.
Right.
And you're like, holy crap, we got to get back and clean up camp and go home. And, yeah.
And I remember, like, in the 70s when we were kids, I remember, Grandpa always being gone Thanksgiving morning hunting. I remember him bringing bucks home.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking that was the coolest thing, when we were kids. He'd come home
Yeah.
and he'd hang a buck up in the tree in the backyard.
That's you made me think of that too. When he'd come home, we'd be home on Thanksgiving, and before they had the cabin up here, they'd just come up and hunt. They'd meet down in Honeyway, the fire department or something would have like pancake breakfast in the mornings and weekends for hunters. I remember him stopping there, taking us, and you get pancakes and come up here and hunt and go back home. But on Thanksgiving, he'd wheel in like, oh, they got a deer, and go out and hang it in the tree, and
and that's the stuff that I think about now as a father. Like, obviously Billy's only a year and a half, but it's like I can remember like when Dad would get home, Mom would be like, "Oh, your dad's home," and it was like if Dad backed into the driveway,
it was
he
something.
had deer in his truck.
Yeah.
If he drove in, he didn't get a deer. And
Yeah.
it's just like one of those little things. Like I remember that.
Yeah.
And that always sticks with me. So like I think about it now. Like granted, I don't hang my deer at the house, but like I just think about that.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
like those are one of those things that I just always idolized. You guys up here, and like being part of that.
Yeah.
And, like now that I am, like you almost like lose track of
You take it for
granted almost.
You don't realize
because when you're not involved, you like
Right.
idolize being involved. But now that you're involved, like it's fun to now kind of reflect on it and like take it all in.
Yeah.
Because it's a fun thing. It's a fun tradition.
Yeah.
To get up here and whether we have success or not, it doesn't matter. We're having a good time and
Yeah.
building memories, and
Yeah.
we're recording our first ever
Yeah.
Thanksgiving
Yep.
podcast.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
So we've destroyed a lot of vehicles. We've
Yeah.
harvested some deer.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
drank some beer
Yeah.
and some bourbon, probably.
A lot of bourbon.
Bourbon's a go-to, so I would assume that there's bourbon,
Yeah.
not vodka or
No
No vodka.
clear liquor up here. It's all
Yeah.
bourbon or whiskey.
it's all, bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other.
See, I don't. It's never been a wild. Like it's been like if we have wild times, it's here at camp.
Yeah.
It's never been wild somewhere and then coming
Right.
back.
Right.
Which that just says a lot about how times have changed. I mean, you don't do that stuff anymore.
Right.
It's not like before. If something bad happens, they take your keys and say, "We'll give you a ride back." Like
Right.
it's not that way anymore. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now all I remember. So I'm 32. So I've been up here since doing this Thanksgiving thing since I was 14 or 16. So 15 years.
Yeah.
And I've always known us to be here all night long and just having a good
Yeah.
time, telling stories, creating memories,
Yeah.
and it's awesome, and
Yeah.
I love it for that. Like this is a night that I always look forward to
Yeah.
because I know you
Yeah.
two guys are here. Like that's the big
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
It's the
Other-
one time a year we come up.
yeah, and Joe's been a solid. You've been here consistently a lot. Like, and I think you enjoy hunting here. I think you probably like that part of, like, for you could easily hunt Lima. It's 2 minutes from your house at the family farm, but you like to come up here. I mean, what is it about coming up here that you enjoy?
It's more fun. I mean, there's always
more fun.
I mean, there's always like family up here, so you get, you're not always around your family, so it's fun to like come up and
Yeah.
catch up with everybody. Like, I only really see
More
Adam during
social.
deer season.
It's the
So it's
camp.
like the social
It's the
part.
camp deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the still hunting. You know, being able to like in Lima, you sit your stand, go home at like 10 around then. Here, you can just walk.
You can hunt all day.
You can
yeah.
hunt till whenever
Yeah.
you want to.
Right.
When you're hunting the farmland, what we do is primarily tree stand hunting, and then later in the season we might put on some drives and push some stuff. But basically, our archery tactics go right in are the same for the gun.
Yeah.
Just,
You know, we leave it undisturbed. We have one of the only bedding areas in the neighborhood. It's all farmland around us, and we have a lot of swamps and thickets that we hunt. And it's fun. You can hunt them out of a tree stand and get results, but
Right.
but we don't have the cabin atmosphere. We'll go back to the vehicles, socialize, and both of us live 5 minutes from the property, so we go home from there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a little different atmosphere up here. And
It is. I think like the whole having the cabin is an awesome piece of it because like I've gotten close with the Kirsches and they don't have that. They have the farm,
Right.
so they just go there in the morning, and in the evening if you shoot something, you gather at the barn to hang the deer and
Right.
measure it or weigh it, whatever. But I know that they look at what we have with the cabin and say, man, it's like that's pretty sweet that you guys all have a place to like gather every night, spend time together, and
Right.
build those memories and that stuff that goes along with having a hunting camp. So
And
we're very fortunate for that.
you and I talked about that last weekend. Just in whatever talk about having other areas to hunt, and I brought up the fact that I got a couple other areas to hunt, but I don't like hunting there because it's me by myself.
Right.
And coming down here is everyone here. You can come back at any time, or you can meet up with someone. Hey, let's go for a walk, or like Joe and I went opening day. Went over to another piece of property close to here that I had permission to hunt, and went over there, and we had a riot. Sitting there side by side talking.
Yeah.
Missing deer.
Missing
Yeah.
a deer.
Don't leave that out. We know that's
That was a bad day. All right.
It's all right.
But no, just the camaraderie is awesome, and I think that's
It's a big part of it to us as a family. Like we all desire to shoot big trophy deer, trophy quote unquote, big inches bucks. Like Uncle Tim, you just shot your best buck ever.
Yeah.
And you're what? How old are you?
54.
54. Your best buck ever
Yeah.
at 54.
Yeah.
And I'll get with you separate to hear your story on that, but it's like it's not about the inches to us.
no.
There's everybody's got their goals, everybody's got what they're
Yep.
looking for, but for us it's like it's the family aspect, it's the camaraderie, it's getting together at
Yeah.
camp and making these memories that 25 30 years from now I'll be sitting with my son at this table talking about how we sat here and had a good time that night and we recorded our first ever podcast, and like that's what this is all about to us as a family.
I
Absolutely.
pretty cool memories from when we were young, like just old enough to the bow hunt. This wasn't finished off. There was no roof here. I mean,
No ceiling.
no ceiling. Well, it wasn't insulated. I didn't say
Really?
roof. And it was cold as
Yeah.
cold as hell in here, and we'd sleep on the floor. We'd move the kitchen table. I would sleep on the floor in front of the fireplace, and we had Coleman lanterns or something. We didn't. Well, I don't remember. Maybe we had a generator hooked up. It was just early years, but falling asleep here, and Bob always had to have the radio on, real lightly, but he always had WHAM, and I can still vividly remember the songs that were popular at that time, like
Really?
Little River Band,
Yep.
little different songs, or Chicago or something.
Was there
What
any
did you hear?
midgets in those bands or
Any what?
midgets?
They weren't that cool. They weren't
Yeah,
that cool.
Yaroslav or whatever his name was.
What, Hervé Veliches?
Verve, yes.
Hervé. It's like Hervé.
Just trying
but
to bring
Hervé.
it. Just,
the plane.
Look up Fantasy Island. The host was Mr. Rourke there. What was his name? The guy who was... People get off the plane, they go...
Yeah, and they all came to the island.
no, I imagine it was probably a great.
It was the same time Love Boat was on.
Love Boat,
The Love Boat.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep,
Yeah,
the A
those
Team.
were good times.
The Fall Guy, A Team.
All sound like
Great
great
shows.
All
programs.
Great
on-
shows.
Good Friday and Saturday night
Incredible
programs.
Hulk,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bill Bigsby.
yeah.
I bet you that was great.
Yeah, it was funny. But I mean, It was cold, man. You come in here, it's cold. There was no insulation, sleeping on the floor, but it was just good memories, you know.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I can hear a song on the radio now, and it makes me think about.
Can you sing it?
I was just going to ask him that.
Yeah, Little River Band.
Can you sing
Okay,
it?
so
Which-
while
which
I'm
Little
gonna
River
go to the bathroom, you
no,
sing it.
No.
Sing it. I'm on a little river man. Is that how it goes?
No, you don't know the Little.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right.
You do whatever you want to do.
You know, going back to the camaraderie thing, you know, it's about being together. You know, Jimmy shot a doe last weekend, and you know, I got down and came over and found it. You know, helped him find it, and
Right.
you know, helped him gut it, load it up, come back and hang it, and you know, it's just when someone gets one, it's you gotta be there. You know,
Yeah. Happy for each other and help out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I could care less if I got one. If someone else gets one, you know,
Yeah.
I want to be there and share the moment, and I think that's what hunting is all about. You know, is being
Yeah.
with each other.
Right. It's
We
just-
do the same thing on the farmland.
Absolutely.
You know, the farmland we hunt, you know, Tim and I and Sean and Joe, you know, we all share in each other's successes. You know, open a weekend, Sean got that nice 8-point. You know, I was super excited. I got the ATV. I couldn't wait to get out there. Tim got the big buck, the buck.
Right.
You know, last weekend, and I was like, yeah, it was the one morning I didn't drive my ATV out. I'm like, all right, I'm going back to the house. He's like, keep hunting. I'm like, nah, I got to see this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the fun part. And like, you got that beautiful deer with your bow too.
Yeah.
I mean, just to me, it's like a group success. We've hunted for so many years. You know,
Mountain Dew.
we've hunted so many years together,
Mountain Dew, Chip.
and we all know how we hunt. We all know our tactics. We all know our expectations and safety. We all trust each other. That we're not just blazing away. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Is
so
it
there's a
law
comfort
to wear
level.
blaze orange?
No,
Exactly.
Is it?
it's not.
It's
No,
not.
I think
So I learned that recently because I hunt
It's
a lot
not.
of state land with my friends.
Is it not?
It's a
It's not.
recommendation.
Well, I thought
It's
you
not
had to wear
law.
a certain amount of orange.
Because
No.
I've been seeing
No.
a ton of pictures on Facebook of all these people shooting these beautiful deer. That I mean, there's some huge bucks. That have been
I
shot
thought
this
during
year.
gun season you had to wear
That's
something.
what I thought
It's
too.
really.
But if you-
I mean, it's smart too. You probably don't want to walk around.
I
Like,
know, like with Colorado, you have to have a certain
Yeah,
number
for
of,
gun
of,
season.
of inches.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
of
Number of
cubic inches
Oh,
or square
orange.
inches. Cubic or square.
Say,
It's a lot of orange.
Yeah.
So like you got basically you have to be wearing an orange hat and an orange
yeah.
Yeah.
vest.
Bodysuit.
Yeah, yeah, full one-piece jumpsuit. Yeah, prison suit.
Yeah.
But is that for real here in New York? I mean,
I'm-
I'd like to get. Can we? Our
I'm go-
our
I'm
legal
gonna
counsel.
Google it.
Somebody Google it.
I'm gonna
I'm-
Google it right now. I thought you
I'm
had
gonna
to
go
wear-
out on a limb with Joe and say it's.
See,
Before I open my mouth and say too much, I'm gonna.
Jesus.
Oh,
it's not.
you've said
Yeah,
some
no.
things before.
No, it says it's not required.
yeah, no,
That's
it's
what
really
I'm saying.
not.
It's not
Really?
required.
It says all other hunters are not required by law to wear fluorescent orange while hunting in New York. However, the DEC highly recommends all hunters wear
That's
a fluorescent
recommendation.
orange
That's
vest.
crazy.
If you
I
walk
could've
around
swore it
public
was-
land without orange, you're pretty stupid.
You're an
Yeah.
idiot.
But like,
You're a dead
you don't
deer.
have
is
to.
what
My-
you are.
I guess
I think for your youth you have to.
my point was
you-
before I open my mouth too much more. It was I don't wear any blaze orange when we hunt together and stuff
Do
because
deer see orange? Do they?
they don't
don't
see
see
orange.
color.
They see a brighter shade of gray.
don't they see blue? I've heard they can.
I think
see
they
blue.
see blue. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm gonna
can
stop
see
wearing my blue suit.
I wear.
That's why I'm not getting any deer.
I wear a blue man
You're
suit.
urban
Is what I
camo.
wear. I go full blue face when I go out.
Blue man group.
Hunter orange and pink.
No, but you know,
Oh, it is required for hunters aged 14 and 15 and their mentors hunting deer or bear with a gun.
To do what? Wear a blue suit.
Yeah.
Because animals can see blue. It makes it more challenging.
It makes it
250 square inches of solid or
Blue
patterned
square
fluorescent.
Inches.
Yep. All other hunters are not required. I always carry orange. I always carry an orange baseball hat with me. And when I get out of the stand, if I'm walking somewhere, even in Lima,
right.
on the farmland, I would just be on the safe side.
Yeah.
I do too. I have a blaze orange hat in my pack.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the.
I could have swore that used to be like back in the day.
I
that's
thought
like
it was
we all wore
mandatory.
them.
Yeah.
I thought it was like up
I mean-
until this year.
Well, let's just say that it's a good idea.
I wear it.
I think we
Yeah,
can all
I-
agree it's a good
I do.
idea.
I got a
not to
bright
get
orange
shot.
sweatshirt that's super warm.
Yeah, those sweatshirts are those Cabela sweatshirts that we've got.
I got one
We've
back.
all got the same ones, and
Yeah.
they're like
I don't have
they're
one.
incredible.
I don't have one
I don't have one.
Dad bought them
for you guys.
It must have been
Yeah.
on a sale.
for us.
Utes.
The
Utes.
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 You
Back
were
when you were
you're a
Utes.
sibling, not a Ute.
Yeah, I'm out of the Utes category.
But
Talking about that safety thing, I went and hunted with another group of guys one Thanksgiving and did a bunch of drives, and I'll never do that again because it was so scary. I mean, just people just blazing, being where they weren't supposed to be,
Yeah.
and I think back to, us is, if we're doing something, the whole group knows where we are, when we're going to be there, and, it's just a known thing to, communicate and be where you're going to be, and if you change, let
Right.
someone know.
yeah.
And
Yep.
Yeah, I think deer drives they can be
can be
really good or
dangerous.
they can be really bad.
yeah.
Because like I've got the group that I hunt with back in Avon, the Howlets, and like they have a very organized approach to doing their drives. Like you stand right here at this tree.
Yeah.
It's like everybody knows where all the sitters are. The walkers are doing the same thing every single time. But then you hear these horror stories about
People
getting
get-
these just random groups of people, doing
Yeah.
these loosey-goosey drives. And they're dangerous. I mean, if
Yep.
you don't, and that's my first ever time hunting and doing a legitimate drive with them. They told me, stand right here. The deer are going to come to this spot. Like, that's what they're going to do. And it's like, I'm like, okay, I've been hunting since
Yeah.
I've been old enough to go with Dad. Like, I know what deer are going to do. Well, not on farmland. And you should listen to the people that they work this land, they push deer here, they know
Right.
where the deer go.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, I left my spot and I went to another spot, and sure enough, a beautiful buck ran right through where I was supposed to be standing,
Yeah.
where it would have come right to me. And Mike
Yeah.
shot that deer because it ran through where I was supposed to be, and it went to where Mike was sitting. So it's just classic. When you do a drive, you should be where you tell your group you're going to be, or your
Yeah.
group tells you where you should be,
Right.
Yeah.
because it's super important, not only for success but for safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the drivers know if they shoot where the other hunters are.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that same hunt, they're like, I was one of the walkers, and they're like, oh, here, just go down in off this road and just go straight. You'll run into everyone. Well, I went in and was still hunting along like we do, and next thing I know, I come across a set of tracks, and I'm going straight. No doubt about it, I'm going straight. Well, these tracks are going to my right. And I end up, at this power line,
Right.
clear cut, maybe on a pipeline or whatever, and then I get a phone call shortly after that. Where are you? Just crossed the pipeline. Well, you're supposed to be here. Oh, well, this is where I am. And they went in and turned right and worked
They
back
didn't do what they said they were going to do.
Right, yeah, I went and did what I was told to do and ended up in a completely different spot. So,
Yeah.
it could have ended very badly. Luckily it didn't, but
Yeah.
that was another thing where I'm just like, yep, not going with another
Yeah.
group of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have a certain comfort level, because I remember in high school I hunted with a buddy, and they were hardcore deer drivers, and that's all they did. And I couldn't believe the pace they went at. And we piled in trucks, and we would drive to a piece of property, and we'd all pile out. They were like, hurry up, get on the other side of the woods. And I mean, you were just covered in sweat. You were just almost running. And they're blazing a deer, and then they'd throw the deer in the truck and hop, and we'd fly over to another piece of farmland. And
Just covered in sweat. Just,
yeah,
got the meat sweat, sir.
yeah, it was not. I remember it was not what I was used to, what I learned here, and
Yeah.
I never really went back and did it again. It was just
That's it. And I kind of I like doing that. So for me, it's kind of fun because, and it's similar to you guys, but with me, I'll hunt the farm with the Kirsches, and that's a certain type of pace and a certain type of approach.
Right.
And then I'll go and I'll hunt state land, and that's my own thing. And then I'll go and I'll hunt here, and it's a different type of hunting. And then I'll go and I'll hunt with the Howlets, and that's a totally different type of hunting. So you take this long deer season and you mix it up into all these different types of hunting, and you kind of can make it whatever you want it to be all throughout the season. It's not
Yeah.
like doing the same thing, like walking from the truck to the stand,
Yeah.
sitting there, coming back to the truck. Like you can go and do that, and anybody can do that.
yeah.
I mean, there's there's so much opportunity in so many different places around where we live that you could go do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and I think that was the theme for this year for me, because last year was kind of a boring deer season. Didn't see a lot. The weather was crap. Sick of hunting the same stands. So this year, I won that climber at the raffle there at the Wild Turkey Federation raffle in Lima. And I just started going outside the box. I hunted state land at several different places. And that climber, I discovered I could go anywhere and just put up a climber, and you got a tree
Is that a
stand.
pretty decent climber? Well,
It is. I mean, it's heavy. It's a steel one.
yeah.
But
It's
I love
quiet,
it.
probably.
It's quiet. It goes up. It works great. I mean, you can get 20, 25 feet up in the tree. You feel totally safe. I mean, it's beautiful. So I'm definitely a big fan of it. And you can break it down and turn it into a backpack. It's got the straps.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You
love
got a
it.
gun out of that too, didn't you?
I did. I got the Stoger 12 gauge
you,
over under.
You killed it. And then
Yeah, they did.
we've done well the last few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if anybody listening to this has the
That
opportunity to go to
turkey
an NWTF, banquet dinner, holy crap, they're a good time.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I don't
so
know.
much
We
fun.
might be the biggest assholes at the at the
I think
get
people
together.
hate us a little bit.
Well,
we
won.
spend money.
We have a good time.
We spend
spend
money. I
money.
think we won like 6 guns. Brian won the Kimber. The Kimber.
Yeah.
9
I won the
mil.
Kimber the year before.
Yeah, Brian
Yeah.
won it the next year. Your dad won the Henry Lever Action. We won.
Dad.
The
Freaking
gold
dad.
medal. Yeah.
How many knives did he win this year?
Oh
like
my
4 or
God.
5 knives on the
Yeah.
silent auction.
You gotta
How
go
many
to that,
paintings
Joe.
has he
Like
bought?
I went to it the year
Bill
before.
Harvey
you won the
wins
flashlight.
the
Yeah, the flashlight was under the
It was
chair.
underneath the chair.
what's
This
that?
past year was even wilder.
The big mag light.
Yeah, Joe went the year before.
At the end, they were like, "Hey, everybody, look under your chairs! Like, there's a surprise." And I tipped it up, and there's like a big ass red mag
flashlight.
light
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
with like NWTF on the side.
that was it. You didn't win it. That was it.
Well, he won.
Yeah.
He won a small fishing pole.
It was pretty
too.
cool though.
Oh, you got.
And
you
I got a knife.
You got a midget fishing pole.
Yeah,
And you
a
bet
little
on
person
knife.
fishing pole.
Yeah.
Oh, we discussed that. We shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midget's offensive, but
It is
they're
offensive.
midgets,
I'm
so.
sorry, Joe.
I also got a knife.
I got
You got
my
a knife.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I got my rifle from that banquet. The first
You
year
did.
we started going.
You did. You
at
won the
Benelli.
Benelli.
Yeah.
So around this table, how many people have gotten guns from that banquet?
I have.
1, 2, 3.
I haven't.
It was just 2.
You haven't. Tim?
Bill.
I
Oh,
have
no, you got the pistol. So 3
I
of
got
us.
the pistol.
3.
Yeah.
3 out of 5 have gotten guns from that banquet.
Yeah.
I got the whiskey basket last year. So remember the balloons? You could pay $20.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And you would pop the balloon that you carried to the table, and mine had like basket number 25. I went up and it was at Distillery from Honey Falls.
Oh, nice.
Had like 3 bottles of whiskey and glasses.
That's right.
I won that. And
What'd you do? I mean, did you give that to someone because you don't drink whiskey, right?
No, they were gone in like a month. I was gonna save a bottle for the elk hunt, and that didn't happen.
It didn't
So,
happen.
no.
You had to buy another bottle for that.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you about the bottle I found on the elk hunt.
You did not.
I know we were going to do a podcast for that.
We're gonna
So-
do a separate podcast.
But you got to
on
hear
your
that this is a
outcome.
whiskey story. So here I am in southern Colorado, literally 1 mile from the Mexico border, and
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
I'm sorry, New Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, unless things have changed. I don't-
So,
it's pretty.
right
aggressive.
next to New Mexico. So the
Yeah,
train
Mexico.
the terrain is like New Mexico. It's not like the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful area though. So me and my other son David are out there hunting. The first morning, we went up and there was all these little ridgelines, fingers that went out, and then these little gullies you could hunt over. So we went and we're set up there and we're like looking over an area and watch the sun come up. It's beautiful. We sat there for like an hour and a half, and I got up and I told David, I said, "Let me go across the top of this finger and I'll peek down over the other side." And I get up and I'm walking across there and here's a stump. Like, because there had been a forest fire there. There's a lot of burnt trees and some had been cut off. And there was a stump about 20 feet away. And here's pretty much a full bottle of Lead Slinger whiskey sitting on the stump.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, I went back to David and I'm like, Dave, look at this bottle of whiskey. There's just a bottle of whiskey sitting here, And I'm like,
What?
yeah, I swear to God.
Did you take a picture?
Yeah, I got a picture of it.
Did you keep it?
Did you keep it and drink it? That's the question.
I did not keep it because I felt it was left there for people to enjoy when they
reason.
came through the
Oh,
area.
so you take a nip and
That's what I figured. So,
Yeah.
Was it open?
Did you take a nip?
it was open, and
All right.
it was like finding this bottle, and there's only a touch
Does it
missing.
smell like a dehydrated man's urine?
That's what I thought.
That was
I'm just curious.
that was the first thing I checked.
Of course.
So I open. I'm like, holy shit, you know, and the label was a little faded. And I like popped the top there, and I'm like, no, it's definitely whiskey. And David came over, and it was like 8:39 in the morning. And I was going to take it. My first thought was, man, I just scored a nice bottle of whiskey. And then I was like, I think the people who hunted here previous or camped here left this whiskey for people to enjoy. So me and David each took a shot of the whiskey and put it back on the stove.
So, okay.
That's
So
right.
I'm sitting here,
I want to hunt there.
and I'm very, like, you know, feeling good about things. We should start doing that around here. We should, like, leave a beer
In random places.
in a random place, or leave a bottle of whiskey in a random place.
Oh, whiskey.
So it's
with
like
beer.
being
Once
iced. If you
open a
find
beer,
it, you have to drink it.
then you got to drink
We
the
should
whole thing.
we should take a bottle of whiskey from the cabin here tonight,
Yep.
tomorrow, and just hide
Leave
it
it.
somewhere on the side hill or on a stump.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
It was really cool to
like
find
When
it.
somebody randomly is out still hunting, they're like, son of a bitch,
I know.
take it. I gotta take a swig.
It was one of the coolest things I ever found in the woods. I was
I
like,
love
I
it.
can't believe it.
It would have to be a bottle of whiskey because if it was a beer, it would
Yeah.
freeze.
Yeah, whiskey.
Whiskey.
And we'll take a Ziploc bag and we'll write a little note in there, and then whoever takes a drink on it can just
Sign
sign
and
it, date it.
Yeah.
Do they get to hide it again, or does it stay in the
No,
same
I think it
spot?
stays in the same
Stays
place.
in the same spot.
So if you're having a really rough day,
You go to that spot.
you go to that spot and just sit there the rest of the day.
And what
And you're
happens-
like, I drank the whole bottle on November 29th. There wasn't shit moving. But I had a good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a good tradition. We can
Wow.
we should, do you know where Uncle Mike has that piece of wood that
The
he sits
firewood.
on? Does anybody know where that is?
Yeah.
His log.
It would be really funny to go up there and like put a Mountain Dew on that piece and
Oh,
just
yeah.
leave it there.
Yeah. It'll freeze.
What do you think? Yeah.
It'll freeze.
Oh, sons of bitches are wasting up a good Mountain
Yeah,
Dew.
there's
It's
the
frozen.
bottle of the whiskey.
Wait, I want to see.
That's awesome.
Can you describe the picture?
Can you?
You can see the picture.
No, I can't.
No.
Tim's got his
You
blurry
can.
eye.
Oh, you
Use
got
your
a
other
blurry
eye.
eye.
No.
Yeah.
No, I got my
He
fat thumb.
Fat thumbed it.
Oh. Hold on, I'll bring it back.
I won't touch it this time.
So we've been talking for
A long time.
pretty near an hour and a half.
Pretty near.
A little over an hour and a half. So I guess kind of go around. Anybody, any closing thoughts from this conversation, Thanksgiving, what your expectations are for tomorrow? Uncle Chris, starting with you. No, you're looking at your phone. Uncle Tim, starting with you.
I got a couple doe tags. It's like I want everybody to have a good hunt.
Why
and
is that?
whatnot.
Did you shoot a super huge buck or something?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Rumor
Did you
has it.
shoot the biggest buck of your life, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I hit
there's the whiskey.
shot the hammer. The taxidermist said, and he goes, "That's a hammer right
He's
there."
a hammer.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I think it's good. That is cool. Bottle of whiskey.
You got the shakes? Start calling you Zaylor. You're not even drinking. I can't see it. What does it say? Hoja.
lead slinger.
It says don't pee in here.
Yeah. Hoja. Oh, wow. Look at that. It's right in there.
It says fill to this.
Oh,
line.
that's sweet. It's got a gun on it and
Yeah,
everything.
you ever had lead slinger?
Never
It's
had
made
it.
by veterans.
I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
Oh yeah, it's
made
good.
by veterans.
For veterans.
So you've got 2 doe tags for tomorrow. Will you please shoot a doe?
Yeah.
Yes.
Please. Because
Please.
the last doe you shot was 35 years ago, your first time ever hunting.
No, not the last doe
Oh,
ever.
somebody
but
zoomed
last
in.
doe here.
Oh,
Yeah, I zoomed in so he could
35 years
Yeah.
I
ago.
thought that was the
I
picture.
shot a doe with my bow and arrow,
Yeah, that was a picture.
but
So,
I've
that
been
was
holding
fine.
off on doe
Oh shit, that's
in
cool.
Lima because I felt the numbers were down.
Let's shoot some does tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, I will. I will oblige
Shoot the
you.
first doe.
First one.
Yeah.
If she's got
Got the muzzle over.
hair on the field, play ball.
All right.
Okay. Adam, what's happening with you?
Oh boy. I'm gonna go back after Frank in the morning, and if that doesn't play out,
Oh, Frank.
oh.
Old Frankenbeans.
yeah, that's probably not gonna play out. But
It might play out.
Can you explain to the listeners why his name is Frankenbeans?
I don't really know.
What does Frankenbeans mean?
What does Frankenbeans mean to you?
That's
'Cause
not
you
what I
named-
asked. I asked you the question.
You named him.
I
I just followed suit.
may have named him. He's the king of the forest. He has the schmeckle and nuts. The Frankenbeans.
He is the king cock on the block.
Yeah, cock on the block. Correct. The cock and balls. God, darn it! I didn't want to. I wanted to keep this.
Well, you know what? You just went. You took it too far with that.
Yeah.
too.
You know, you're good.
Now it's PG-13.
No.
Yeah.
Now you got to redo
Your
the
brother
whole freaking
ruined that.
night.
Jim
Hide
ruined
your-
that a long time
Hide
ago.
your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I remember Jimmy dropping
All right,
that.
Yeah.
so Adam, yeah, Jimmy thinks this podcast is lame unless we're saying F words every other 5 words.
Yeah.
Typical.
So we're gonna try and make memories tomorrow. That's
Yeah,
that's
we're gonna
the
put
closing.
some deer down.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna try something new.
Are you?
Yeah.
What would that
What is
be?
it?
So having fun is something new to you, or making memories, or something. I don't know.
Are you gonna just put one bullet in your gun?
Yeah.
You know, if Otis was here, you say you're gonna try some new. He'd say, "What? You're not gonna spook Frank?"
Yeah, or you're
exactly what
or you're
he
not
said.
gonna hunt my old stands. Is that what Jimmy's gonna say?
He
Oh,
hunts
ouch.
every- changes every 3 days, so
Yeah, I know. You gotta have 17 different setups.
18.
18.
He has 18.
Yeah. I got the old squeaky portable, man.
Yes, and what's up with him naming his stands after old stands?
After
Yeah, you
old
can't do
stands.
that.
Yeah, when you say squeaky, I'm thinking of the
Right.
squeaky.
No,
Right.
No.
Jimmy's
I wrote that down.
I wish he was here to defend himself because he'd probably be like all squinty eyed like I've been drinking blue light for 6 hours. I can't I set my stands because that's what Dad did 37 years ago, you know.
Yeah, you can't call it the squeaky. There's only one squeaky.
No, you can't recycle names like
Right.
that.
Fuck, now I'm coughing.
Yeah. Oh,
Black
Jimbo.
Lung.
I love Jimbo. I wish he was here.
Yeah.
He'd be sitting right here. He was a good guy. He's got a big old beard, and then Dad would be sitting right here, and he'd be getting ready to put his CPAP on. Jesus.
Go
Breathing machine
All
on.
falling apart, for God's sakes. So, Joe, what's your plans for tomorrow? What are you thinking?
Well, I got 2 doe tags and my buck tag still.
You're loaded.
So, everything that walks by is gonna die.
There's a lot
That's all I
of
got.
opportunity.
How many
Any-
bullets do you have?
25.
All right, so,
So-
you can
all right.
shoot 5 deer.
Yeah,
Yeah, just about 5 deer.
according to the stories, that's about what
5
you
shots
need.
per deer.
Yeah.
3 hit. Deer dies.
Seems
So-
about right.
Pretty much anything I see. is
Lead
going
slinger.
Yeah,
I call you
Lead slinger.
Lead
Well,
slinger.
yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a good brand.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Chris,
Survival podcast.
what are you thinking for tomorrow? You've had quite the season, so you need to put a deer on the ground tomorrow.
I do. I have not gotten a deer yet. I've passed on a ton of doe, with my bow, and I actually passed on a doe with my gun last weekend when Tim shot his. So I'm done passing. So
Yeah.
time to harvest a doe,
The gloves are
and
coming off.
I'm hoping a buck comes through. But getting back to the importance of this night, not to get emotional, but I just want to say, when I was overseas a couple of years ago, there was times when I would think of this place, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see it again. I don't know, because you think of all these memories, especially when you're overseas, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to ever be back there. So I'm thankful, especially this year, but all the years I'm thankful that I'm actually back here, and I made it back, and we're here hunting just like we did in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so whether I get a deer or not, I'm happy to be here.
It doesn't matter what happens
Yeah.
tomorrow. What matters is us in this cabin,
Yeah.
regardless of who's
Yeah.
inside these walls.
Yeah,
Like,
it's gonna be a good time
yeah,
regardless.
it is, and it's awesome to record this, and we can listen to this 25 years
Yeah.
from now and remember this night, and it's been fun. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot a world record buck tomorrow. That's my game plan. So
World record?
yeah, world record. Yeah. We haven't seen him,
Amen.
but I'm almost sure he lives right where I was tonight. Yeah.
Wow, that's
I'm
that's
gonna
setting
go
the bar
back
high.
there. Yeah, world record.
Yeah,
That's setting the bar really high.
I'm hoping to shoot Frank
I'm just hoping
and
to-
Beans.
And beans.
And his beans.
Yeah, leave his beans until his Frank is dead. Yeah, then cook his Frank and don't eat his beans.
My prediction right now is 2 deer down tomorrow.
2 deer. We're
Minimum
For
2.
yourself?
No,
Yeah.
for us, for
I'll
the
kill
group.
some
For the
more.
group,
I think there's going to be some deer down tomorrow.
I think
Yeah.
amongst the group we'll have 2
Yeah.
down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
It's gonna be
I'm
nice.
thinking
So-
3.
3. Okay.
I just think more than one is a good number.
It is.
It's very modest.
It is very modest.
Couple modest soup.
Cheers to
All
that.
right.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salami. There we go.
Joe, cheers to your
Joe with your
Mountain
foam,
foam,
Mountain
Adam's
Holler.
Quiet,
foam.
cozy foam.
Cheers, boys. Feed them. And
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah,
Thanks for
having us.
Thanksgiving.
Feeding them.
Feed them.
Burnt near.
Pert near feeding them.